It is 10 o'clock. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Lucas Panzica. The NFL Scouting Combine is officially over, and there were multiple standouts from the week in Indianapolis. Everybody wants to know the best 40 time. That would go to the wide receiver out of Mississippi State, Brennan Thompson, with a 4.26. Tennessee wide receiver Chris Brazzell and Vanderbilt tight end Eli Stowers, both impressed with their workouts. College hoops over the weekend. Tennessee blew another double-digit lead at home against Alabama, 71-69. The final score. Vanderbilt fell on the road at Rupp Arena against Kentucky. Meanwhile, the Nashville Predators in action this afternoon at Bridgestone Arena, hosting the Detroit Red Wings. 1 p.m. is the puck drop. The NHL trade deadline is looming on Friday afternoon. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Well, we made it back. Hope you guys had a great weekend. The come down from the combine is always something that you have to deal with. You've heard of seasonal depression. I think that's what Robert is working through back there since we've shoved him back down in that tiny little dark room for the next 3 hours. We are happy to have you. We're happy to be back in town after a successful week in Indianapolis, and there's been all manner of NFL news to start the morning. You've got trades. The Texans are doing a lot of trading so far this morning, trading away Titus Howard and trading for, about 2 minutes ago, the Lions running back, David Montgomery. So you've got a handful of transactions that are taking place with the Combine as the stage setter for a lot of these transactions, and we'll keep you updated throughout the course of the morning. You've seen guys cut. You've seen news and information on guys who have been informed that they will be released once the new league year begins here in just about, I think it's like 10 days before the start. 10 days or 10 or 12 days before the start of free agency is crazy.
March 11th.
Okay.
So next Wednesday, the madness begins.
Yes. Well, and we will have a good bit of the information. I wonder how crazy, madness, how actually crazy it will be, because we've seen a great many of the top free agents be tagged or be rumored or reported to be getting extensions on this, which is the expectation every year. It's just not that sexy of a free agent class, which is fine. You don't build your roster through free agency, which is something that the Titans have obviously emphasized under Mike Borgonzi. The Texans are also trading Juice Scruggs away. What the hell is going on in Houston this morning? Diana just tweeted that.
They're getting a 5th-round pick in exchange for, they're sending a 5th-round pick to Detroit in exchange for David Montgomery.
Okay, with Juice Scruggs in the deal?
Oh, is Scruggs going to Detroit?
That literally just got reported as we're talking about this. Is there a fire sale in Houston? Who the hell is going to play offensive? They're just going to rebuild that thing again on the fly in front of C.J. Stroud?
Interesting. So
Titus Howard out, Juice Scruggs out, so that's 2 of their starting offensive linemen.
Okay, so Ian Rappaport tweeted that the Texans are sending a 5th to Detroit for Montgomery. Then Diana comes in and says the Texans are sending Juice Scruggs a 4th and a 7th for David Montgomery.
Oh, okay. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a high price. Montgomery is...
Wasn't Juice Scruggs like a 3rd-round pick?
Second round
But
pick. He was not starting for them.
But he had started games for them last year.
Correct. Yeah, Jake Andrews kind of took his spot at center after an injury, I believe.
Okay.
Montgomery will be 29 this season. He had 716 yards, 8 touchdowns, played in all 17 games for Detroit as part of that 1-2 punch with Jahmyr Gibbs. So interesting. Rappaport just straight up, getting it wrong. He tweeted a 5th-round pick goes back to Detroit for David Montgomery. And then Diana said something completely different.
Yes, he would have gotten that incorrect in that particular situation. So Nick Caserio, the Texans general manager, formerly of the New England Patriots, he's been in Houston long enough. I don't think it's quite 10 years for Nick Caserio, but he's been there in the fallout of the Jack. I heard a lot of fun Jack Easterby stories this weekend, by the way. I forgot to tell you that. the mad preacher that for a period of time was running the Houston Texans. But no mad preacher making these trades. This is just straight up Houston revamping their offense. How the hell are you going to trade away your offensive lineman and then acquire a running back unless you feel really confident about the draft capital? But they're sending away draft capital too for the running back. A fourth, a seventh, and a player is not light compensation. Houston, do they feel like they're in the most tenuous spot of any contending quote unquote team in the NFL, where they don't know what their quarterback situation really is? I mean, you're not going to give up on C.J. Stroud just yet. They have team control still at hand, but they don't feel like they're in a really good spot.
This is interesting. Schefter tweeted the same thing, that the Lions are sending Montgomery to Houston for a 5th-round pick.
So somebody's got it wrong.
So he and Rap Sheet are getting the same thing. Rap Sheet has updated it with the terms that Diana reported, including a 4th, a 7th, and Juice Scruggs. So it's all over the place. Okay.
So somebody needs to iron it out for the insiders, it seems, who are just tweeting whatever lands in their inbox. And that's typically how it goes. So, a lot of movement so far to start the morning. We had a lot of fun at the Combine. Obviously, you guys were up there with us for the most part. The interviews that we did, we're very grateful to all of the guests who made time for us throughout the course of the week. We learned a lot of stuff as well in the aftermath. It wasn't all just boozing and talking to people. And steaks and St. Elmo's cocktail sauce, which the two of you fed each other on the final day. You were a little disappointed by the cocktail sauce that was making the rounds in the Combine setting. I think they just kind of uncorked the bottle of it as opposed to the fresh-made stuff that punches you in the face.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it, but tasty as always. I do maintain that people that have never been to the Combine or have never been to St. Elmo Steakhouse have to be so just overhearing about the shrimp cocktail.
I don't care.
We don't care about the damn shrimp cocktail.
Was there anything that we wanted to do in Indy for the Combine that we didn't get done?
Oh, we didn't run the 40.
Yeah, Lucas,
very disappointed.
Lucas was badgering us as we were packing up everything and getting ready to leave finally into Napa. I mean, I couldn't believe that you wanted to stay a second longer. You were there Saturday to Friday.
No, I was ready to leave Indiana, but I felt like a good opportunity.
It would have been a good opportunity. The rest of us were just fatigued and ready to go. And also, Robert wanted to make a stop by the Combine store, which he bought a beanie from the Combine store and then proceeded to lose it. At some point between the car ride and the last couple of days.
I haven't unpacked my things yet. It's probably in my bag.
It wasn't in your things. It was on your fat head while you were sleeping the whole way while I drove us home.
It was very comfy. But I also don't think you looked very good through the car to see if you could find it. I think you were like, oh, not here. Turn it back into Tammy.
No, I was too busy.
Buck smoked that thing out, Tammy. He was smoking cigarettes inside that Bronco. He was eating food while driving.
Did you just breathe in and there was phlegm? Is that what I heard?
You can't deflect off me.
No.
Tammy, don't ever give him another vehicle.
So
he was jumping curbs. He was running red lights. You probably got 400 tickets from red light cams. He was just being a total ne'er-do-well. Do not ever give Buck another car.
Those things, it may not be the most efficient way to get up on a road trip, but by God, you can hop a curb in one of those things.
The most efficient way to run over another car, for sure. Which he did, Tammy. Check for glass in those tires. Don't ever give him another vehicle. Give it to me instead.
The only thing that was found in that car was your stupid little Ravens mug.
Did Kirby get any merch?
Kirby did get merch. Kirby got, I think, a pin for his grandson. I think
yes.
Kirby collects pins for his grandson from all the places, Super Bowls and things of the like that he goes to. I did not see him come home with any other swag. I thought he was dying in the backseat of the car because Kirby doesn't drink water. And for some reason, Kirby thinks that he can go through his 63 years of life without drinking water and not expect to have just the worst cramping situation you've ever seen in your life. I thought he was going to pass out when he got out of the car. He made me pull over at a certain point because he refuses to put actual liquids in his body other than Pepsi.
Yeah.
He was in the back seat like, Buck's like, are you okay, Kirby? And Kirby, yeah, I'm fine. I just need to stretch my leg out and touch it on the ground.
It's like Kirby, like you sound like an animal that's been wounded and dying by the side of the road.
Like got stepped in a bear trap and gnawing off their own ankle. No, it's fine. It's okay.
Somebody in the YouTube chat says, I drove out of Indy like LaMelo Ball. Have you seen those videos? Those are crazy. Anyway.
So the Texans trade Titus Howard to Cleveland in exchange for a fifth, and they trade for David Montgomery, giving up a fourth, a seventh, and Juice Scruggs.
Okay, so we finally have the details ironed out.
Well, a little bit of background on Titus Howard, too. So he didn't necessarily work out at right tackle for them. They moved him. He played both guard spots for them.
He's a former first-round pick. He was at South Alabama. Is that right?
He was kind of an underdeveloped offensive lineman when he got into the league. Definitely had some growing to do. And grew he did, but not necessarily as much as the Texans probably wanted.
Sure.
So they were a bottom six offensive line last year. So I don't necessarily hate them shipping off guys that contributed to them being a bottom six unit. Now, filling all those spots is a question, but who knows? Maybe they'll be able to figure that out. Definitely not with the picks they traded for Knuckles.
And apparently, according to Rappaport, Titus Howard is getting a new 3-year contract worth $63 million.
Which is kind of crazy. Dude couldn't play tackle, and you're giving him tackle money. No, let's give him top of guard money.
Only gave up a fifth for him, and you're giving him that kind of top of market money.
Love the Browns.
Well, I mean, the Browns, but I'm more confused here by the Texans. Like, what is your plan? And maybe, these questions will be answered because obviously we haven't gotten through free agency yet. We will in 9 days, as Lucas correctly points out. The draft is, just a little less than 2 months away as we sit here on March the 2nd. So that will be a great time had by all. And maybe the Houston Texans will be vindicated because their offensive line situation's not good. It's not been good for the past couple of years. But I don't think it's bad enough that you can just start selling off all of your parts, especially, Juice Scruggs is still on a rookie contract. Like, they're just giving up on dudes.
No more Knuckles. Are they still, is Gibbs still Sonic?
No, I imagine, you're just going to draft another Knuckles?
Is Montgomery still Knuckles?
What's the big fat guy that chases him around?
Dr. Egg?
How do you know that, but you didn't know who Knuckles was? How did you know that his name is Dr. Eggman, but you didn't know who Knuckles
was?
was?
Eggman? I didn't know it was Eggman. I just knew it was Egg.
Did you see the Jim Carrey regaling of Dr. Eggman?
I did not see the Sonic live action. I didn't see any of the Sonic movies. I feel like you play enough of those video games. Sonic the Hedgehog. It's like Spyro, Sonic, Crash Bandicoot. Like, that's my era.
Maybe they go get a Mike Washington to be Dr. Eggman, who some could say would maybe be a winner of the Combine.
It's a shame. Sonic and Knuckles, such a good nickname for a duo in the NFL.
It's definitely creative, right? We've had Thunder and Lightning a 1,000,001 times, right? We've had all manner of different Eggman or Robotnik. Wait, who's Robotnik? Dr. Robotnik is
but his nickname is Eggman.
Oh, okay, because he looks like an egg. Very good.
He has a 300 IQ, according to Google AI.
615-737-1045. Well, Google AI is famously wrong about everything, so let's cut that in half. 150, not bad for Dr. Robotnik. Anyway, you can jump in on the phones if you like to. We'll do some winners and losers here in just a second. We'll start with Zach in Germantown.
Hey, good morning, guys. Good morning. I was actually coming off work. I think it was Saturday. I don't know. I worked all weekend, but I heard Lucas on the radio doing the Argentinian and USA women's team match. Oh my gosh! I don't like soccer. Really not a fan of women's sports. I know that comes off as chauvinistic or whatever, but
all right. Robert hates them in general.
I looked down. I'm like, I've been listening to this for over an hour, and I was just tantalized. Man, you killed it, man. I mean, you are definitely adding me as a fan of soccer, and I didn't think I'd ever say that. But keep it up, Lucas, man. You killed it.
Thanks, Zach. Appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, Lucas was actually diligent in studying for this game. It was poorly timed for our trip to the Combine, where he was having some kind of website repeat back to him Argentinian female soccer names while Kirby and Robert and I were, running around doing whatever the hell we were doing, watching The Godfather.
Those names are always tough because there is no country that blends European and Latin American, I think, more than Argentina. There's so many people of Italian and German descent. So it's German and Italian names, but with a very South American, Latin American, twinge to them. So that was a challenge. But I really appreciate it. I'm going to take the audio of that call and send it right up the ladder to the good folks at Westwood One.
See how good I did? One guy called in and told me how good a job I did.
We got another one. We claimed another non-soccer fan. We got him on the boat.
If you get a response from one fan, that equals 1,000 people listening. So 1,000 people thought Lucas was doing a great job.
Is that how this works? Like, because plenty of people listen but don't actually call in. We like the percentage of people that listen versus the percentage of people that call in is always infinitely smaller. So one person equals 1,000. Is that how we're selling this?
That's how I sell it to the bosses. Every time I get a compliment.
Very good.
Shout out to the USA ladies. They are one of the best teams in the world, if not the best team in the world, as is usually expected.
Good atmosphere?
Yes, fun crowd, good performance, and Women's World Cup is fast approaching next summer in Brazil.
All right. Well, it's good to be back. As I mentioned, the Combine just concluded yesterday. Most people left after Friday just because it's a long time for any business, any company to send that many people. So by the weekend, these things typically clear out because, honestly, the Combine is better to watch than it is to actually attend the drills, as Robert found out with me on Thursday. But we will still do some winners and losers from Combine Week coming up next. The Tennessee Men's Clinic is here to help you, just like they've helped so many other guys across the last decade plus, because you've only got one life and it's too short for not nows or maybe laters. You want to make sure that you're not procrastinating if you're dealing with any level of performance issue. And the Tennessee Men's Clinic has been helping guys figure out those problems and find solutions that are specifically tailored to you at any of their Middle Tennessee location. They are the state's first men's health-focused urology practice with multiple urologists and providers focused solely on male performance. No unproven snake oil or peptides without solid research. Since 2014, they've pioneered men's health in Tennessee and have been testing and growing to make sure you get the best care and the safest, most effective treatments. Call 615-208-9090 right now. That's 615-208-9090 or book online in under 30 seconds at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Welcome back to the show. Fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. The best hot chicken in the world is the only thing that Combine Week doesn't have is Hattie B's. It would be a good system cleanser after a week in Indy.
There's a Hattie B's coming to East Nashville. Seeing that construction make a little progress every week.
And we'll really never get Lucas to cross the river. It's a battle at this point in time. Combine wrapped up yesterday with offensive line testing and drills, and I think it's about time. Do we have stock exchange? Do we have some kind of terrible, crappy radio imaging to go with winners and losers here?
No.
Oh.
Were we supposed to?
No.
You're just hoping that I could pull something out of my ass and do it?
Yes.
That's all I've got.
Okay, that's all I wanted. Simple as that. Highly produced program.
But them's the breaks.
We haven't dusted Boris Johnson off in a while. We have a variety of different voices that we haven't heard from in a while that delight me.
Oh, I didn't even know. What kind of grade, random audience members? By the way, this show was filmed in front of a live studio audience. What kind of praise would you have for Lucas and I for our Combine prep? Oh, stop it. You like me. You like me. You really like me. What about Buck? Yeah, I don't care.
Oh, not even a boo.
No, I don't even know we have boos in
Apathy.
here.
It's even worse.
Yeah, and that hurts me deeply. All right, so winners and losers from the Combine. We'll snake draft this. So I'll start with a winner, Lucas winner, Robert winner, and a loser. We'll come back around and we'll do some losers. So David Bailey is where I will start because the Titans are interested in a pass rusher. Titans are interested in a variety of different players, and we'll talk about some things that we heard at the Combine here in just a second. But David Bailey was excellent as far as the athletic testing went. The Texas Tech pass rusher, there are some things there that you can nitpick about his game. You can talk about the idea of how well will he be and how well will he perform in the NFL against the run? Can you leave him in on all three downs? These kind of conversations. But as far as it goes, 40 time of 4.5 seconds at 251 pounds is moving. I mean, screaming down the line. Now, how often is he going to have to run 40 yards? Those are the questions about the practicality of the testing. But the explosiveness, the different things that he had, his comparison, he had a faster 40-yard dash than Antonio Cromartie. He had a faster 10-yard split than Devontae Adams. He had a better vertical jump by a half an inch, but still better vert than A.J. Green. And he had a better broad jump than Adrian Peterson. Now, I'm sure you could find different numbers where they would blow him out of the water or something like that. But just freakishly athletic David Bailey. Combine testing can help you in some instances if you know that you're going to crush it. So many players opt out. Did you see there was only one running back did the 3-cone drill? That was kind of crazy.
There were a lot of drills like that where a handful, 2 or 3 players, and that's a storyline in and of itself.
I agree.
Yeah, just the amount of players that are opting out of certain drills and pushing them off to pro day just keeps going up every year.
So anyway, David Bailey, freakishly athletic, Combine confirms it.
Yep, he was fantastic. A lot of the top defensive guys like David Bailey, Sonny Styles, Arvell Reese showed everything you would want in a setting like that with those drills. But I'm going to go with Jeremiah Love because it feels like now that we're a day removed from the end of the Combine, he is a lot of people's number 1 overall prospect, and he did nothing to quell that last week. He looked like an elite running back prospect on the field. Now, we asked Dane Brugler last week, what is the position you can learn the least about with these drills that happen at Lucas Oil Stadium? He did say running back, that there's just no way to replicate what you need out of an NFL running back. But yet still, it's hard for me to ignore that at 6 foot, 213 pounds, Jeremiah Love ran a 4.36 40, which is the exact same time as Jahmyr Gibbs, despite being 13 pounds heavier than Jahmyr Gibbs. That dude is smooth as you like. The tape pops. He's obviously the best running back on the board, and he could very well be the best football player in this draft. I feel like that is becoming a more and more common opinion coming away from the Combine, and Jeremiah Love only continued to raise his stock last week.
All right, Robert, first your winner and then your loser.
For my winner, I'm going to go with two separate guys that are in the same bundle. If you look at the strengths of this draft, no one is going to say a 3-tech defensive tackle, which is the position Jeffrey Simmons plays, kind of somebody that's going to rush inside of the offensive line, but not necessarily over the center. Two guys for that position that I think showed out at the Combine and showed off their athletic prowess were Zane Durant of Penn State and Grayson Halton out of Oklahoma State. So while it is a devalued position in this draft because the talent level is not what we're used to, both of these guys came out and showed that they are athletic specimens. Zane Durant at 6'1", 290 pounds, ran a 4.75 in the 40. That's hauling ass and making 2 trips. Grayson Holton, 4.82 at 6'3", 293. Zane Durant, and both of them are kind of the same position, but do things a little bit differently. So Zane Durant's a little bit more of a twitchy pass rusher. It kind of gets washed out because of his size. The opposite of Grayson Holton, he's more of a solidifying factor in the middle of the defensive line, but doesn't really have the pass rushing attempts that Zane Durant has. But both of those guys, I think, raised their floor of the draft as far as being like a late day 3 pick to potentially being one of the top day 3 picks on the beginning of the round 4.
Loser.
With my loser, I'd go Harold Perkins. We talked about him a little bit at the draft. When you looked at mock drafts or the way too early mock drafts from 2024 and 2025, they all had Harold Perkins in the top 10. Oh, look at what this guy is. Look how athletic he is. He can play edge or middle linebacker. Kind of the hype for Arvell Reese that he has is the hype that Harold Perkins had coming into this year and the year before and the year before that. So what's the dude do to come in here and kind of separate himself from the pack? You know, I can be a linebacker or an edge. I'm athletic. The dude doesn't do anything. He doesn't do anything where you have guys like Jacob Rodriguez who had questions about his athleticism and comes out and shows, and he's a very above-average athlete. The same thing could have been for Harold Perkins, but he chose not to run. I think that's an awful look, especially with a bunch of dudes not doing it, so you could have been in an upper echelon compared to your class. To deny that, I think that's just an awful look. Hopefully you're killing your interviews. He is my loser.
Right now, I'm going to say Jermod McCoy, just until he proves
I think that's fair.
that he's good to go. And he could get out there at his pro day at Tennessee, and he could light it up, and he could run the best 40 time in the cornerback class and wipe away any of those fears. And I do understand his reasoning that, yes, he's 100%, but he has not been 100% long enough to train and ramp up to be the best version of himself at the NFL Scouting Combine. Okay, but you still have to show it. And it's just not ideal that 14 months after the ACL injury, we still don't know what Jermod McCoy looks like when he's out there running around and doing these drills that NFL teams want to see him do. And he'll have a couple more weeks to get ready for pro day, and his pro day will be massive for a guy that, by tape, looks like the best corner in this draft, but he hasn't played a down of football since that Tennessee blowout loss to Ohio State in the college football playoff.
He didn't seem, I don't want to say that I'm sure he was adequately prepared. I don't know who his representation is. I don't know if he's a CAA guy, if he's an IMG guy, whatever. But he didn't seem that prepared to handle the amount of questions and the repetitiveness of the questions that he was going to get specifically about that. Not just at the podium. You were over there at the podium with him, right? Not just at the podium, but I was watching back some of the NFL Live stuff from the weekend. By the way, Mina Kimes, we taped an interview with Mina on Friday after the show. We're going to play that for you at noon today, speaking of NFL Live. But he did a separate interview with Laura Rutledge after he spoke, and I was watching that back this morning, and she asked him about, at what point do you feel like you're going to be 100% ready to participate in the drills? And he goes, I'm 100% ready. And she didn't follow up in that spot because, you know, it's a TV interview. It's tight window. And Laura's really good. I'm not saying that Laura should have followed up or should have pressed him in that spot, but it was just kind of like, okay, bud, but why aren't you doing it?
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Yeah.
It's just weird.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of that. Again, I can understand that logic, that he's not had enough training, but you're right. He kept following it up with, oh, no, I'm good to go. Okay, but then why aren't you working out? Oh, well, you know, I haven't had the training, so when will you be ready? Oh, I'm ready. And it was just kind of this continuous circle of that.
And I get he's in a tough spot, right? Because you don't want to put a timeline on it, right? But now, I mean,
it's been well over a year since the ACL.
Sure. So it's that compounded with his his inability to really answer in a satisfying way the questions about why he wasn't participating last week. And also, now it puts a tremendous amount of pressure on him at his pro day, right? I'm not saying that he's going to run a 4.87 like Xavier Restrepo, right? But
no, he'll have one of the most important pro days of any prospect in this draft, given what his ceiling is as a potential fringe top 10 pick.
If he's not physically ready, and he's telling people that he's physically ready, if he's not ready to work out at the combine, I understand, even though that would immediately raise red flags about, okay, it's been a calendar year plus since the injury. But I would almost say, if I was his representation and he was actually ready, I'd tell him work out at the combine and do it again at the pro day. And if you blow it out of the water at the pro day, you're going to be fine, right? But now you've just got one shot, really, to change people's minds or to solidify people's opinions on you. I just think it's tough. So I'm going to do a loser and then a winner. My loser is Vernon Davis. Vernon Davis, who was drafted 20 years ago, the 2006 NFL draft, the 2006 NFL Combine, because Vernon Davis has been synonymous, is the word that I'm trying to use, with athletic, freakish testing at the Combine until Kenyon Sadiq, the Oregon tight end, and Vandy tight end Eli Stowers blew all of his numbers out of the water. So Vernon Davis, who has held that title of freakish athletic tight end performance in the combine testing, saw several of his records fall at the position because of Stowers and Sadiq. Freakish tight end athleticism in this draft. I'd be curious to see where Eli Stowers ends up, because we knew he was going to perform well, right, as long as he was 100% healthy. But, I mean, that vert is crazy.
Stowers is a big winner of this combine.
Crazy.
100%. We'll talk more about the Vols and Vandy specific guys and how they performed last week. Y'all help me out with this one. I'm going to...
Wait, is this a winner?
A loser. We're doing losers, right?
Well, we're doing a snake draft. So I did a loser, and then my winner would be Eli Stowers in that spot. So now you give your winner.
Okay. Then I'm going to say Taylon Green.
Do you like that? Does that feel good? Peanut butter, baby.
Taylon Green, the Arkansas quarterback, who I aired on not even touching on Taylon Green last week, as we talked about. I feel like we talked about every other SEC quarterback prospect in this draft.
I feel like you talked a lot about him in the lead up and then just forgot about him.
We kind of forgot about him throughout the course of the week, and then he went out there and he shined in the drills. And Taylon Green's a guy that has had a long college career, 5 years in college, 3 at Boston College, 2 where he was the starter, 2 at Arkansas. Arkansas was dreadful last year, but they were productive. They moved the ball offensively. His numbers dipped, certainly. They went up on the ground game. He had 777 yards, but this is a guy that is 23 years old. He's 6'6", 224 pounds, and he was excellent. Record-setting day for Taylon Green. Started his day with a vert of 43.5 and a broad jump of 11 feet 2 inches. Both results are the best for a quarterback at the Combine since 2003. Each measurement beat Anthony Richardson by 3 inches, and we remember how insane Richardson's Combine performance was. Then he ran a 4.3640, which is the fastest time for a quarterback in over 20 years. So the tape is kind of all over the place, but the talent is undeniable. The ability to make plays with his legs off schedule. If that's something that NFL teams feel they can rein in, then maybe Taylon Green goes higher than expected in this draft. He was just an uber productive player throughout the course of his college career and was fantastic on the field last week.
Robert, a winner and then a loser.
I have so many winners and losers. Okay, so my winner for this.
If there are any SEC related, save it, because Lucas has a Vols Vandy segment blocked out later.
Okay, I'll cut out some of my losers. I'll go broad then for my winner, and I'll go the cornerback class as a whole. Because I can't tell you the last time we had a draft that was full of this many big, long dudes who can run. Like going through the 40 times and then cross-referencing that with people that are over 6 foot is insane. Chris Johnson, Tacario Davis, Damani Jackson, Malik Muhammad, Colton Hood, Ephesians Prysock, Julian Neal. Like you just have so many dudes who are quick and long. Usually it is the opposite. This guy's going to have to be a nickel. This guy can only be a zone corner. A lot of these dudes are going to be able to play inside or outside, and a lot of them like playing against the run. We saw that with their speed, and I'm just fascinated to see how this cornerback class ends up stacking up on draft day. But I think a lot of guys ended up raising their floor just by running that quickly. For my loser, I will go to the SEC. Sorry, Lucas. Cassius Howell, who I think has fantastic tape. If you listen to Todd McShay, Todd doesn't care about this, but I do. His arms are shorter than Reuben Baines.
By a considerable margin.
Outside linebacker from out of Texas A&M. And unlike Reuben Bain, where we talked with, I have him blocked still. What was my buddy's name? John Ledyard. John Ledyard talked about how Reuben Bain's arms don't necessarily get him into trouble because he knows how to use his hands so well. Yeah. Cassius Howell's length does get him into trouble. He gets stuck on pads very consistently. And so to get a measurement like this where it's like, okay, this dude has pinkies for arms, that's devastating for a player like that.
You were so wrong when we drove by Dinosaur World on the way home. And taking that picture of the T-Rex with the sunset in the background highlighting these tiny baby arms, and then tweeted at Robbie_Walsh.
Oh, thank you for the plug. You could go retweet it if you'd like.
I'm not going to.
Maybe quote tweet
disparaging something I'm going to get to here in just a second. But yeah, I took a picture of the T-Rex and said, oh, Reuben Bain on the side of the road driving home from the combine.
And maybe I tee you up for this, but it does feel like I am not opposed to Reuben Bain because of the arms, but it does feel like a lot of other guys took his milk.
I think we will get to that when we talk about the Titans and how the combine might alter the thinking at number 4 overall, or at least adjust it. Lucas, a loser.
Reuben Bain.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, and I'm doing the thing that I hate, right? Like, this, to me, is the worst part about the combine, where we talk about things that aren't football, right? We're not talking about his tape and the actual production on Miami's run to almost winning the national championship. We're talking about taking a tape measure to his arms, come in at 30 7/8 inches, and he doesn't work out. So unfortunately for Reuben Bain, that is the storyline, the headline around him coming out of Lucas Oil Stadium. And then Warren Sharp comes in with this research that no player with arms that measured less than 31 inches has had 10 or more sacks in the last 2 decades in the NFL. So it's unfortunate. Robert Saleh said his tape speaks for itself. I think he said a lot of the right things. He had that sort of Cam Ward mentality. Robert pointed out, did you say this? I can't remember if you said this on or off the air.
Was it poignant and good information?
Yes.
Then I said it, yes.
Off the air.
Well, no, it was just about Reuben Bain.
Not in a productive way whatsoever, just as an aside.
He kind of looked like he just rolled out of bed, right? This dude did not care about what his hair looked like, just football guy. He is just there to talk ball, said a lot of the things that Cam Ward says. This guy lives, breathes, eats, sleeps football. The tape is fantastic, the production, but damn, he's just got some short arms. And that is the talk around Reuben Bain, unfortunately, coming out of the combine.
So I have a loser and then a winner, but both are born out of negative stories from the combine. Loser, the Indiana football fan base, okay? Did you see this at the combine? Did you watch any of the quarterback stuff?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Fernando Mendoza didn't throw.
Yeah.
Carson Beck did. And every time Carson Beck got out on the field, Indiana football fans in attendance at the combine drills booed Carson Beck.
Oh, I love that.
No, I hate that. Losers.
Oh, get out of here. What are you talking about?
You imagine being booed during a job interview?
I have been.
I think that is, well, that's probably.
He's a football player.
That's absolutely. I don't care. It's not like I'm not bothered. I'm sure he's fine. Okay. I'm sure many people on the internet have said way nastier things and done nastier things to Carson Beck. But you're in there to observe. Shut up. You don't get to sit there and boo these kids as they're trying to make something happen at a job interview, one of the most important job interviews they'll ever have. Loser behavior. I think that sucks.
It's not that deep, man. It's sports. Carson Beck's been booed before.
No, for sure.
He knows where he is. He understands the context.
But this is not some kind of big rivalry. You beat Miami. You won the Natty. It's just classless. I thought that was garbage.
Carey says they should be cheering since he
did win it for them, yes.
through that horrible interception at the end.
That's
I bet
fair.
coaches are happy they're doing it, though. Like, let me see this guy under pressure.
And I think he handled it fine. No, I think, and he's not my winner in this one. The winner is Casey Concepcion. Is he from A&M?
Yeah,
by way of NC State.
Right.
So
Good player.
he's got a speech impediment, okay? And he was getting harassed on the internet because of his speech impediment. You tweet out the combine podium stuff, and a lot of people latched onto it and were very cruel on the internet. He put out a statement about it in which I thought he was very classy. I just want to say something. If you have a speech impediment, there is nothing wrong with us. I have had this stutter since I can remember talking. This is a part of me. This is who I am. I cannot control it. I want to be a role model for those who may be scared to speak up and who may be afraid and not confident in yourself. I stand with you. So it goes on at some length. I thought that was very well done.
And by the way, he killed the gauntlet drill. Casey Concepcion was absolutely amazing at the combine.
Yeah. So good on them. Winners and losers from the combine. We will get into the Vol. We got to talk a little basketball, and thank God it's not my basketball team because they are just dreadful, laying down like dogs at this point. But the Vols choked in a big spot. We'll talk about it next. It's truck month at Two Rivers Ford, and that means zero money down, 0% financing, and zero payments for 90 days. But only at Two Rivers Ford do you get zero surprises and, most importantly, zero pressure. You see, Two Rivers Ford, they do things a little differently than most dealerships. It's why they're the best. For starters, they have a non-commissioned sales team, so their salespeople are paid whether you buy a truck or not. So ask all the questions you want. Take every test drive. Check out the F-150, the Super Duty, the Maverick, the Ranger. Truck Month is all about you. And at Two Rivers Ford, you'll find the real price online every time. They don't add a bunch of accessories or add-ons that you don't know about until you get ready to take the car home at the dealership. They pride themselves on honesty and transparency like they have for over 4 decades. And by the way, Two Rivers Ford has one of the best inventories of Ford trucks in the Southeast. There's Ford Truck Month, and then there's Two Rivers Ford Truck Month. So get to the South's most trusted Ford dealer for the best prices of the year on the best-selling truck in America. Local, honest, real. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. 24 roses could not have saved number 22 Tennessee. We'll have an updated ranking in the AP Top 25, I'm sure, by the end of the show today. They blew a 13-point lead in the second half at home against Alabama on Saturday, which hurts them as far as where they stand heading into the final week of the regular season, specifically in the conference. We're going to be at the SEC tournament, by the way. We've got a lot of fun stuff coming up. We've got the SEC tournament, which coincides with NFL free agency, so there'll be a lot of basketball, a lot of football talk. While we are doing the show, Robert, from Bridgestone, is that correct?
I think Lucas and I are, and you are staying here at the studios to not bog us
let
down.
you out of that little box one time. Now you think you just get to go everywhere.
Let me out of here!
It's the reverse Eric Andre.
Yes.
I'm in.
I want to talk to somebody. I want to look at somebody.
Well, I don't know how Vols fans are feeling as we come down the home stretch here this week, because the Missouri loss, okay, stub your toe. Didn't Mizzou get Vandy too here recently?
Yes.
I feel like they did. Missouri
is a tournament worthy team, but you led by double digits in that game too. That's 5 games now that you've had a double-digit lead that you have blown. Tennessee has led by 17 against Kentucky, as we know, at home and lost. Led by 14 at Kentucky at halftime, lost. Led by 13 against Alabama Saturday, lost. Led by 12 against Kansas in Vegas back in November, lost that game. Led by 10 at Missouri just last week and fell. And this was a game that you're like,
yeah.
What just happened?
Relatable. You watched that Northwestern IU game with me.
Well, Alabama's first lead in this game came with 24 seconds left to go up by 2 and end up winning because Tennessee can't convert on the final possession of the game. And this is even a game where if you didn't watch it and you see Alabama 71, Tennessee 69, and then you look at the box score and you say, oh, Nate Ament played 11 minutes and had 2 points. Well, that's why you lost. But even so, you don't even really get to use that excuse because Tennessee dominated the boards in this game, 47-30 rebounding. They had about 22 more offensive rebounds than Alabama did. They only turned it over 6 times, Tennessee did. They had 13 assists to 6 turnovers. And yet still, Jacoby Gillespie had a day, 26 points, 9 of 23 from the floor. They weren't good from 3, but just you throw your hands up. You're like, how did you let this happen? The amount of second chance point opportunities that Tennessee could not capitalize on as well. But you drop it, and now you are the 6th seed in the SEC standings going into the last week of the regular season as we all wait an update on Nate Ament.
Well, that's why it's really problematic because now you, Kentucky, and Missouri all have the same record, and they've got the tiebreak. Both of them have the tiebreaker over you. So that's a really, really costly loss on a couple of different fronts. How do you feel about them as we get ready to conclude the regular season?
I don't trust this team to be able to play a 40-minute game. They
got who next? South Carolina?
They're at South Carolina and then close out the season at home against Vanderbilt, trying to complete the sweep against Vandy.
And I'm sure Vandy is going to be looking to stick a thumb in their eye after the way that went down at Memorial Gym.
Yep, and Tennessee has a win over Bama. They went down there and beat Alabama in that first Charles Bediako game a few weeks ago. So Bama gets a little bit of revenge, but this was a frustrating. Somehow, even with the excuse of Nate Ament only playing 11 minutes, somehow this loss, maybe it's just recency bias, but is more stunning in how it happened than either of the Kentucky games or that Kansas game. But it is a bit of a disturbing trend with this team. You want to see them just be able to handle themselves better in these moments. But again, those games, it was easy to figure out how it happened. They started just throwing the ball away, these 4, 5, 6 minute scoring slumps. And the next thing you know, Kentucky's within 2, and then they have a lead. This game was very much like a truck blindsided you. We dominated in this category, in this category, in this category, and still found a way to lose, is what you're kind of telling yourself. So, yeah, frustrating loss for Tennessee. And Nate Ament, lower right leg, his ankle kind of got rolled up on and
caught up.
A little bit of a scrum. He went into the locker room. You could see him jogging around, was actually back out onto the floor at the beginning of the second half, and then they pulled him. And Rick Barnes said they just felt it was best for his health moving forward. And seems like they're optimistic that it's nothing serious, but I guess we will Find out sooner than later. Tennessee plays tomorrow at South Carolina.
615-737-1045 is the number if you want to jump in. We will do, Robert. Mock Draft Monday.
Yeah.
Mock Draft Monday post-combine.
How many remain?
What?
Why are you already counting down how many?
I think we have 8 or 9 Mock Draft Mondays left.
He's literally counting them down. I'm going to betray a confidence, okay? I'm going to betray a confidence real quick. We were walking around the hallways. I don't know why it was just me and Lucas. Was this Friday morning? We were coming back from breakfast. Yeah. And we were both talking about, draft coverage and, what happens in the aftermath.
And how much we're enjoying it.
Of the combine. Yes, very much so, of course. And
how could you not?
Do you want I don't want to twist your words if you would like to tell people how you feel about this at this particular point in time, because I've already betrayed you.
I said this to Robert, too, before we left for the combine.
Did you hurt his feelings?
I don't know what he's saying.
Well, just where I was like, yeah, I feel like this draft, I don't know. I don't have a lot of juice. I'm having kind of a hard time really getting up for this draft in particular.
Said he hit a wall on draft coverage. I was like, buddy,
hit
it's
a
February 27th.
Well, that's the thing about the combine, man. Like, you spend the whole week talking to prospects and the risers and fallers and team needs and all these things, and then you come out of Indianapolis and you're like, all right, now the draft. And there's still 2 months to go.
Hey, everybody, this guy hit a wall. Hey, he didn't want to talk about the draft. Hey, Lucas doesn't like this anymore. He's not having fun anymore.
I'm having fun. I'm always having fun.
You never said that to me. If you would have said that to me,
I did.
I would have had. You did say this draft doesn't. I'm not going to disparage you.
You're about to
no,
turn
I was
into
about to hit him
Cheyenne.
with the Cheyenne voice. At no point did you say to me, "I have hit a wall." You told me, "Yeah, this draft doesn't have the stars," and I was like, "Oh, great." Evaluation, buddy. It really doesn't. Yeah, and we just continued talking about the draft. I didn't know that you didn't like this anymore.
No.
I didn't know it wasn't.
He disclosed this to me in confidence when you and Kirby were not there because he knew it would break your heart.
I said the same thing to Buck that I said to you. You never
didn't.
listened to me.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
That's rich.
No, he's downstairs.
So anyway, Mock Draft Monday next.
It is 11:02. Good morning from the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Combine, or not from the Scouting Combine, I'm just Ron Burgundying the update from the 104.5 The Zone studios. The Combine did wrap up yesterday in Indianapolis. Some standout performances. Mississippi State wide receiver Brendan Thompson had the best 40 time at 4.26. Tennessee wide receiver Chris Brazzell and Vanderbilt tight end Eli Stowers both stood out at their respective positions. College hoops over the weekend. Tennessee gave up another double-digit lead in a 71-69 loss to Alabama, dropping the Vols to 10-6 in SEC play. Nate Ament was held out in the second half with a lower right leg injury, still awaiting updates on him, but Justin Gainey, Tennessee assistant coach, said today that Ament will not practice today with the Vols. The Vanderbilt men fell to Kentucky 91-77. They dropped to 9-7 in SEC play. On the women's side, the regular season ended yesterday. Tennessee with a 10-point loss to Vanderbilt, who is the 2 seed in the SEC women's tournament beginning this week in Greenville. Vanderbilt will start its journey on Friday. Tennessee will await the winner between Missouri and Alabama to play on Thursday as the 6 seed. Lady Vols finishing out the year with 6 straight losses. The Nashville Predators host the Detroit Red Wings this afternoon at Bridgestone Arena. Puck drop is at 1. The NHL trade deadline is looming Friday afternoon. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Go ahead. Go ahead and poop on this whole thing.
I'm not here to yuck anyone's yum.
How do you not have fun doing this?
Mock Draft Monday.
Anybody.
Buddy, I'm trying, okay?
Help me.
I am. It's like that scene out of Mad Men. I just recently rewatched Mad Men where who is the female copywriter? Peggy? Peggy is upset with Don Draper because Don Draper doesn't say thank you.
Yes, that's what the money's for.
Yells at him, that's what the money's for.
We are 2 months out and starting to get a bit repetitive already.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Before we get into it, if 2 months out before your wedding to Megan and you go to her and you're talking about logistics and you're like, baby, sorry, I know this is really fun and like one of the biggest moments of your life and everything, but it's getting a little repetitive, a little redundant. Do we get begonias on the table or not? Have fun. This is the same approach. Every year, the draft is my wedding.
I want you to keep this energy for your actual wedding.
No, I can't. Cheyenne will handle all of that. Baby, I don't care. Just let me pick the music. And let me pick where my grandma sits so I can put her far away from everyone I love.
Anyway, the latest mock draft. Nate Tice of Yahoo with Charles McDonald. They do a podcast together. And at the top, it's the 2 names that you see most frequently in these things. By the way, Wyatt has put out his latest mock draft roundup at TennesseeTitans.com. But Raiders 1, Fernando Mendoza. New York Jets 2, Arvell Reese. Arizona Cardinals 3, Sonny Styles, which would make sense. That seems to be a theme regardless of who the general manager is. They love their linebackers in Arizona. Like, especially, who is the hybrid? It's not Isaiah Thomas. Not
Isaiah Wilson?
No, Isaiah Wilson was here.
We did this from
Isaiah
Clemson.
something.
Simmons.
Isaiah Simmons, right?
Hassan Reddick.
They've tried a bunch of different hybrid players at the position. They've tried a bunch of players who conventionally play off-ball linebacker. They haven't really found a good solution. Sonny Styles, I would be comfortable with the Titans taking him at 4. I think it would make sense if Arizona took him at 3. But at 4, despite his tiny little puny T-Rex arms and not testing and loves ball so much he's not even getting a haircut before the combine, at number 4 overall, Reuben Bain Jr. Okay. So, what we talked about last week when we were in Indy is that they're not out. The Titans aren't out on Reuben Payne or anything like that, just because I saw Matthew Berry make an appearance. Matthew Berry's at NBC Sports now. I think he's doing stuff for NBC. He has his own newsletter, but he's a longtime fantasy football analyst. I'm sure many of you know him. And he was talking about the Titans a rumor that he heard was the Titans think that Jeremiah Love's the best player in the draft. Sure, he's the most explosive offensive player in the draft. If they think he's the best player, full stop in the draft, right on. That doesn't mean they're going to take him at 4. It also doesn't mean that they're completely out on Reuben Payne, but that they are, like everybody expects every team to, taking into consideration he's got a physical exception, okay? And his physical exception is there have only been a handful of players with his specific measurables as far as the arm length goes to have succeeded at a high level in the NFL. He is an exception. Now, John Ledyard of Audibles and Analytics came on with us at the Combine and said, yeah, but he understands how to work through his exception. His skill is that he knows he's got shorter arms and he understands how to use them in the best possible way. But I'm saying that if the Titans end up taking him, that's fine. But they are having conversations internally about, okay, do we really want to take a player with a physical exception with the 4th overall pick, given what's out there and what may be there on the board?
Tice writes, Saleh can continue to build what his best Jets defense has had, premier defensive line depth. Adding Bain, who would be a perfect fit in Saleh's defense, would give the Titans a heavy-handed player on the edge who has high-end athleticism to negate any arm length issues his frame should bring up. Jeffrey Simmons and Bain would be a pain, he writes. So Jim Wyatt put out his second mock draft roundup, like you said, today. The first one last week, as we talked about with Jim and Indy, had 0 offensive players. Of the 20 mock draft picks for the Titans at 4 in Roundup 2.0 on TennesseeTitans.com, how many offensive players do you think made the cut?
I'm going to say 1.
7. Suddenly 7
different offensive players?
No, not 7. 7 of the 20 mocks for the Titans at 4 that
Are they
Jim
all
pulled.
the same player?
No, 5 are. Who is that player?
That would be Jeremiah Love.
Carnell Tate. Yep.
What?
Carnell Tate was mocked to the Titans by Matt Mayoko
In San Francisco. He's been
of
there for 100
NBC.
years.
Yep. Cameron Sheath of Pro Football Network. Chris Gregory of Rotoballer.
Who are these people?
Eric Froton of NBC Sports. And Dave Zangaro.
These are not real human beings.
NBC Philadelphia. There was a Jeremiah Love mock by Nate Davis of USA Today, not the former Titans offensive lineman.
That'd be funny.
Bucky Brooks had Arvell Reese. You have Mel Kiper also picking Arvell Reese to the Titans at 4 in his latest mock draft. Daniel Jeremiah did go with Reuben Bain. Charles Davis went with David Bailey. Trevor Sikkema of PFF went with Sonny Styles. But a lot of Carnell Tate in here. We didn't really get to Carnell Tate, but does he go down as one of the losers of the Combine?
He wasn't that, his 40 wasn't that impressive.
It was just the 40.
Right? He's fast enough for a guy who does what he does, right? Like, he's a big play contested catch receiver. He doesn't have to be, a burner in a straight line. That's not his game. So maybe teams ping him for it a little bit, but I think that's one where the tape dominates the drills.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about Carnell Tate because he was a little slower than you wanted him to be, right?
This receiver draft is just like a lot of positions in this draft. It'll be about fit, right? Do you want a separator? Do you want somebody that you can move around, motion, like a Casey Concepcion? Do you want upside, maybe with a little bit of, gamble associated with it? Do you want size? It's going to be all over the place.
I am surprised that many people, and again, the veracity of these. Matt Mayoko is the only person that you named that I've heard of. And that's, I don't want to be a jerk or anything. Like, I'm sure if you ask those people who the hell I am, then you're like, who? It's not that important. But I am a little bit surprised by that, given the conversation around, well, there's not really a player worthy of 4 at the receiver position, but let's just go ahead and give him a receiver anyway.
And to your point, like I wouldn't necessarily take was a loser because of the other 2 guys that he's grouped in with the first round with Mekhi Lemon and Jordan Tyson. I thought he had the best week.
Of them, for sure. I mean, the Mekhi Lemon stuff is, we'll get into it.
Like, a lot is made to do out of his 40, but he hit that 4.55 threshold. Like, I think Puka Nakua is the only wide receiver to not run below a 4.55 to make a Pro Bowl or something like that. What I was more interested in was his hands. Had huge hands come in. The average hand size for a first-round wide receiver is like 9 3/4. He came in with 10 1/4. So I think that supports the claim that he can be a contested ball catcher, a 50-50 ball, whatever you want to classify it as. I feel like his combine results supported what he is more than any of the other 2 top receivers in the class did. Tyson did have an impressive outing. Well, it depends. It depends where you are with weightlifting fundamentals. Did any of you guys see his bench press?
Oh, is that where his ass is just completely off the bench?
His legs are coming off the ground.
When you talk about pumping your legs when you have to pass gas, like that's what I imagine you doing.
That's what I needed.
Hip thrusting on the floor.
I needed
trying to shake it out.
Someone to give me the old Jordan Tyson special and shake the demons out of me. But yeah, I can't believe they counted all those reps. Some of those
I couldn't either. I thought he was going to get like 4 actual reps.
I did not see this.
It's funny.
You'll have to go check it out.
Yeah, if you watch the video, the form is very poor. It's not quite as bad. You saw the Barstool, I guess, does like a combine with some of their fringe people. I don't even know how many different Barstool personalities they are that people would consider mainstream. But there was a guy that went to lift. Is it 245 that they bench?
Yes, or 225.
225. Yeah, it's just 2 plates.
So he went to bench 225, and the thing literally bounced off his chest and sent his bottom end flying.
Collapsed him.
I mean, he looked like a tube of toothpaste being squeezed out. It was gross.
Can I give you guys somebody else that I'm hating the buzz around this week, or do you want me to save it?
I mean, well, is it relative to something that we have to do later in the show?
No, it's not. It's more to do with the workouts. So Zachariah Branch out of Georgia, who's a guy I like. I like him. I wouldn't say he's my guy, but a lot of the stuff coming out this weekend comparing him to Zay Flowers. And, look how many bench reps he put up. Oh, wow, he got 20 in the bench. Look how short his arms are. Like, if you have longer arms, it is harder to lift the weight off of your chest. You have farther to go. He has a tight, compact body. Oh, I'm surprised this guy that weighs 188 pounds could rep it 20 times. He's been working out his entire life. His arms are shorter than Reuben Baines. What do you mean you're impressed? The dude was a gadget player. He catches balls with his body.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't do a lot at Georgia that he'll be doing in the NFL, I would say.
Stop putting this dude on a podium. Or a pedestal, rather.
I mean,
same principle.
He was great at the podiums.
You have headlines?
I do.
They're next.
Oh, Lucas hit a wall. But for that, and to fix that, we have so much information from the combine, upcoming free agency, tags, who's getting traded, all that and more. And we go to one newly energized Lucas Panzica.
Yes.
Aren't you feeling the energy, Lucas?
Feel the receptors firing and the energy coursing through my body.
He was literally falling asleep before the music started.
Give him it. Give it to him.
It was not the newsiest week at the Combine, I would say. Nothing really coming out about the prospects, which usually is a good thing for the prospects.
Mekhi Lemon would beg to differ.
Well, nothing like dropped about Mekhi. Like there wasn't a scandal about Mekhi Lemon.
Oh, no, but not favorable.
Wasn't he? What came out, quote unquote, came out about Mekhi Lemon other than he looked very scary in the way he was looking at people?
Apparently, his interviews with teams were disastrous.
Who had that?
Several people.
Did you?
Has been reported?
Yeah.
I have not seen any of that reporting.
Did you watch before the wide receivers went out to catch deep balls? The coach was telling them, hey, you want to run 3/4 speed, giving them the lineup. And the whole time he's doing that, the group of wide receivers that are running the routes are listening to him. And then there's Mekhi Lemon doing that same face, but off looking in the distance. And what happened when he was throwing his deep ball? He didn't run quick enough. He didn't run the speed that was asked to run, and the ball sailed over his head. It was uncatchable.
So Braden Fehoko, the retired defensive tackle, former star at LSU, used to play for the Chargers, tweeted yesterday, I talked to a scout just now who said he didn't know what Mekhi Lemon's motive was behind his combine interviews, but whoever advised the kid needs to be fired. Quote, absolutely bombed it, word for word.
Now, that could just be one interview, right? It doesn't mean that every interview that Mekhi Lemon did with every team, however many teams he met with, that it was disastrous or that he bombed. But he seems to not have helped himself in that specific situation. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, his podium stuff was interesting. He's just giving everybody this death stare. He looks like possessed.
Well, it's just we were driving back, and Robert, did you compare him to Randall from Monsters, Inc.?
Yeah,
The way that his head was moving, serpentine.
I was going to put a tweet out, but I really felt like I had just reached for the golden gauntlet last week and wanted to save some likes for somebody else, so I didn't end up putting that out.
You literally asked me to retweet you today so you could get your dopamine hits.
Oh, man.
You still haven't done that.
Yeah.
I guess I'm going to have to tweet this out.
You're cut off until next year.
It's okay.
Well, the Houston Texans have been busy. They agreed to trade starting right tackle Titus Howard to the Browns in exchange for a 5th-round pick. They also sent center Juice Scruggs to Detroit, along with a 4th and a 7th in exchange for Detroit running back David Montgomery, effectively breaking up Sonic and Knuckles. It is now Jahmyr Gibbs by himself in Detroit. Montgomery lands in Houston, where the Joe Mixon thing was really, really weird last year. Did not play or was not available for a single snap.
And he's been tweeting like, it's somebody else's fault but his.
Nobody really seems to know still what the deal was there. Nick Chubb signed a 1-year deal in Houston last year, so, 30 years old. Who knows if he's brought back. But David Montgomery probably will be the centerpiece of the Houston backfield moving forward.
Did you see that he, an hour before he got traded, Jeremy Fowler, he put together a combine notebook, the ESPN reporter, saying that David Montgomery wanted out of Detroit as one of the nuggets that was in there. And so very quickly, David Montgomery took to social media and said, damn, I told you that, acting like he didn't know what Jeremy Fowler was talking about. And then within the hour, he was traded. So I'm confused by the Texans' moves here. Now, the thing that's looming over all of this, I don't know what Titus Howard was costing them against the cap. I don't know what Juice Scruggs was costing them against the cap. But they do have a Will Anderson extension that they are probably trying to get done sooner rather than later. So some maneuvering here for financials would make sense. But given what their biggest problem is, that offensive line, and that quarterback's play behind that offensive line, I'm just confused as to, is David Montgomery going to solve? He can be a part of the solution. They just have to redo that whole thing again, it seems.
I like the fit, honestly, because I kind of feel like you're combining what Nick Chubb was to them in a short yardage back with Mixon, who is like kind of a one-cut guy who he can come in there and get you the hard yards if you need it, and then he can also break one if you give him a big hole.
So there you go. David Montgomery lands in Houston. Albert Breer put out a combine notebook himself, and Max Crosby is one of the storylines of the offseason, what his status will be in Vegas, if he'll be playing elsewhere in 2026.
Joke's on them. Kirby did the whole combine notebook before any of them. Quicker on his feet with the reporting.
Yeah, I'm sure Kirby's notebook is very substantive.
Suck it, Breer.
Albert Breer writes he would lean towards a Max Crosby trade happening and maybe this week. But he says there's going to have to be some needle threading. He writes, I don't think the Raiders want to go through the song and dance of shopping him, nor do I believe Crosby wants it advertised that he is looking for suitors, given his bond with Mark Davis and his view of himself as a Raider. He concludes his thoughts by saying we should know soon which path the Raiders are taking with teams like Dallas, Chicago, Baltimore, Buffalo, New England, Philadelphia, and the Rams, keeping tabs on his availability. No mention of the Titans there.
It would be a very un-Ravens thing to do, Robert, to give up substantial draft capital to go get an aging pass rusher. That's not typically their, what, Lucas?
Modus operandi.
Yeah, I can't see it, especially considering they need a ton of help. They need a ton of holes to fill on their team as well. So giving up a first and a second or two future firsts just does not seem like. In fact, I can't tell you the last time they traded a first
for a player.
Ever. Oh, they've traded a player for a first in Hollywood when they got the Cardinals first to draft Tyler Linderbaum. But I can't tell you the last time the Ravens traded a first, unless it was a trade up or back scenario. Like that just is not their MO.
Who list the other teams again? Would you?
Oh, let me pull it back up. Dallas, the Rams,
Eagles,
Chicago, Baltimore, Buffalo, New England, and Philadelphia.
No, if Howie Roseman's able to pull that off, just fleecing the NFL yet again. Surely Dallas is more self-aware than that, right? To trade away Micah Parsons only to give up that kind of draft capital, similar draft capital to acquire Max Crosby, an older player. I mean,
that'd be funny.
He's still a stud, but like, Jerry,
Surely funny.
Surely, I mean, it would be the funniest possible outcome. Dallas fans probably pulling their hair out. That New England, what's New England's draft situation? They got the 31st pick. They don't have multiple first-round picks or anything like that to work with, right? They would have to trade a future first.
Who?
New England?
No, L.A. does. L.A. has 2 first-rounders.
And they have juice up front. That would make them one of the best front sevens in football.
Well, no, the Lions have juice up front now. He was in that David Montgomery trade.
That's right. That's right. Along with the 4th and a 7th.
Yeah, Juice Scruggs. Just a clerical issue. Those are dude, we'll fix it in post, man. It's not a big deal.
The Kansas City Chiefs informed right tackle Jawan Taylor.
You're right to not make eye contact with me after that. You are
just doing research. Sorry, go back to the show.
You are correct.
Just listen.
Avoiding my glare.
No, for the sake of accuracy, all right? Can we pretend to be professionals around here?
Just for 1 second.
I'm dying for it.
A lot of offensive line news today. So the Chiefs informed right tackle Jawan Taylor he will be released before the start of the new league year, barring a trade that will save Kansas City $20 million against the cap and allows them to be under the cap when the league year begins in a little over a week. Jalen Moore, who signed a 2-year deal worth $30 million, is expected to be their starting right tackle this season.
And they've got the rookie out of Texas as the starting left tackle. Is that correct? From last year's draft, first-round pick?
Oh.
I'm blanking on the guy's name. I want to say it's Texas.
Josh Simmons.
Yes. So it's one of the biggest things. Kansas City, because a lot of people are talking about
San Diego State, and then Ohio State, and then Kansas City.
Chiefs picking 8th right now. It's way higher than normal for obvious reasons.
Yeah, they're picking 9th.
9th. So Chiefs with the top 10 pick. Could that be a viable trade partner for the Titans? Like, I don't think there's many. We'll see what happens with them right at 4. But the idea, a lot of people are talking about the idea of Jeremiah Love in Kansas City and how dynamic or more dynamic that would make their offense. They haven't had, I mean, they tried with Clyde Edwards-Helaire a couple of years ago. But the real thing in Kansas City to me is the fact that they've got some things there that would allow you to take some pressure off of Patrick Mahomes. I was actually over for some of Brett Veach's press conference at the Combine, and he kept emphasizing the idea of wanting to help Pat by taking pressure off Pat, by putting him in less obvious drop back situations and just finding ways to consistently run the football. Because they've thrown a seventh here and they brought back the ghost of Kareem Hunt to try and support their running game. But that had a shelf life, right? They need a legitimate playmaker back there. Addressing the offensive line is also a part of that equation for them.
Very newsy day for interior offensive linemen. Obviously, Juice Scruggs going to Detroit. The Bengals and guard Dalton Reisner have agreed to a new extension. He's going to stay in Cincinnati for another year. The Washington Commanders have agreed to a new 2-year deal with Nick Allegretti, who started the last 2 games for Washington at center last season. And it's a very big offensive line day in the NFL. I don't know that we're going to get more of a centralized, feels like almost every transaction other than the Montgomery trade, which did involve an offensive lineman, has to do with that position.
All right, so unrelated but kind of related. Would Titans fans be interested in bringing back Kevin Zeitler? Because it seems like that could be a cost-effective solution if you don't feel great about Jackson Slater as a starting right guard option. And you don't necessarily want to spend another $9 million on a 1-year deal for a player or potentially a long-term deal. You could probably get Zeitler cheaper.
I mean, he turns 36 in 6 days.
I will give him credit, though, and again, I don't pretend to know the first thing about interior offensive line play, okay, as far as the technique and the skill and all the different coaching points. We were getting a tutorial, Robert, on Thursday night on a couple of different fronts. You probably don't remember that because you were bug-eyed drunk.
No.
And harassing people about tight end depth in the draft.
Don't say that. I got a lot of good information about that. We had a great time.
Uh-huh. But I do feel I would be, if they chose to use some cap space on Zeitler, because he doesn't have to start the whole year for him, right? If you end up, if Slater ends up being a better player or something like that, I just like him as a reserve idea. And he was playing solid football late when they started to really look like a functioning baseline level average running game and offense. I'm curious to see what their approach is this year, if that's a free agent move that would be an option for them.
This was reported yesterday. The Vikings have informed veteran running back Aaron Jones and defensive tackle Javon Hargrave that they will be released later this month. Again, barring a trade. So that'll save them over $18 million in cap space. Aaron Jones, 31 years old, has spent the last 2 years in Minnesota, obviously played his first 7 in the same division with the Packers. In 2024, he was extremely productive. Injuries caught up to him in 2025. Only played in 12 games, only 548 rush yards.
This is
Jones. Hargrave is even older, 33 years old.
He's been a good player for a long time, man. That dude has been one of the most underrated interior defensive linemen.
Only missed one game last year.
Him on that Philly Super Bowl team when they stole him. I believe it was Pittsburgh and then Philly for him.
He was kick-ass in Pittsburgh, too.
Well, they were having him play nose tackle. So, if you look at his stats there, it's like, okay, he had 6.5 sacks as a nose tackle. That's very impressive. And then he gets moved to defensive tackle, and he just starts destroying guys. I love him, but I cannot love him because he is a former Steeler. As long as he does not go back to Pittsburgh.
Long ago.
2016, dude. I was still in Greenville, America.
Home of the women's basketball SEC tournament.
Okay, so
Really? No, that's in Greenville, South Carolina.
Yeah, I thought.
No, dude.
You're a South Carolina guy. That's what you've always defined yourself.
No, you've been hanging out with Kirby too much. Kirby loves to think that I am from South Carolina, even though that is the worst of the two Carolinas.
That's
adorable to hear him ask, who was it? Was it?
Brandon Cisse.
Brandon Cisse.
Yeah, you were standing behind me like a father that was worried his kid wasn't going to get a Hooters order correct.
No, I was just.
He would like some milk. Like he was standing behind me.
Brandon Cisse very quickly took your milk when you said, which is your favorite Carolina? And he immediately deflected the question. And then you yelled at him.
No,
you got to give me something.
You got to give me a good one,
That's
dude.
not how press conferences work.
He was like, I'll pick South Carolina. I was like, bust. Walked off.
So anyway, Hargrave, interior defensive line depth. You're without Sweat. I don't know if that's necessarily a scheme fit for Robert Saleh. I know he's obviously an advanced age, but he's definitely a more prototypical interior defensive lineman. In fact, did Hargrave have any kind of a stint with the Niners?
Yes.
He did?
Yeah,
yes.
he did.
Okay. Name to watch. I thought I remember him being there for like a year or two. It wasn't very long.
Yeah, he was really banged. He missed a lot of time his last year in San Francisco before heading to Minnesota.
So, there are other names out there, right? But just a name to keep an eye on.
The biggest thing I think that the average fan or the layman wants to hear about from the NFL Scouting Combine is who ran the fastest 40. And a lot of people predicted Mississippi State wide receiver Brennan Thompson to break the record 4.21 that was set by Xavier Worthy a couple of years ago. He did not do that, but he did beat out CJ 2K's time, which was the 40 record for a long time before John Ross broke it with, I think, a 4.22. Brennan Thompson ran a 4.26, better than the 4.28 that Chris Johnson ran. So he did live up to those expectations. Didn't quite break the record, but 4.26 is really, really fast. So I don't know what that does, to be honest. I'm not sure. I don't know a lot about Brennan Thompson's NFL prospects, but that dude is a speed demon, and he brought it last week at Lucas Oil Stadium.
Yeah, there was a lot of positional records at the Combine that were broken this weekend.
And right before he ran, Xavier Thomas, the LSU wide receiver, went with a 4.28. I doubt that's ever happened before, to have two players going back-to-back with a sub-4.3 40 at the Combine. Like, maybe it's happened where two at the same Combine do it, but for one to line up and do it, and then the next one, that's got to be a first.
615-737-1045 is the number if you would like to jump in. We are going to have a conversation about both Vols and Vanderbilt players at the Combine, but also the viability of the Combine is something that I want to touch on because there was something this year that stuck out to all of us, and we'll cover it coming up next. Nothing worse than an electrical, HVAC, or plumbing emergency. Most of the time, you don't know what it will cost or if it'll get fixed correctly or if someone is just trying to sell you something. When you call Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, their experts are going to solve your problems quickly. The price you're told is the price you'll actually pay. There's no hidden fees or surprises on your bill like other companies. You can get the great service that Hiller has offered their compatriots for over 35 years. Patrons is the word that I was looking for. Compatriots, that was weird. Is family owned and operated. Their techs are professional, experienced, and trustworthy. When they're on their way, you'll receive a photo of the tech and a link to track them in real time so you don't waste more time waiting around. 100% satisfaction guaranteed of happy you'll be or the service is free. That is the Happy Hiller promise. So book online today at happyhiller.com. Welcome back to the show. Fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, who made themselves some money this weekend at the Combine, who might have cost themselves. Before we talk about Vols and Vanderbilt players that did perform, did speak at the podiums, we talked a little bit about that last week while we were in Indy. I want to talk about the Combine itself, right? Because we just discussed a variety of different players who broke records or matched records or broke positional records.
By the way, I was wrong. CJ2K ran a 4.24. I don't know why I thought he ran a 4.28.
The chat just jumped on your neck very, very quickly because you besmirched their beloved CJ2K. Anyway, the Combine as a concept, we understand that the Combine will always exist in some form or fashion because of medicals, right? That is the initial and most important purpose of gathering the entire league in Indy for a week. But you had a number of different opt-outs in all of these drills. I mentioned that only one running back this year participated in the three-cone drill. There were a lot of mid-round to day three guys who ended up doing things like the 40 or the three-cone or the various positionally specific drills that some of these guys were asked to do. But we had a lot of opt-outs this year to where the testing went very quickly because you were only dealing with, maybe 5 linebackers are going to do X drill and 2 running backs are going to do this drill. Like, it kept it moving in a very concise fashion, but, they're keeping. Remember what Robert Saleh said with us on, I guess we taped it Tuesday, but the audience heard it Wednesday when he was on the show? I asked him about the evolution of combine drills, and he said something that caught my attention about, the combine's very, very married to a lot of these drills because of historical data. But if you are married to these drills for the purpose of historical data, and a lot of players aren't participating in the drills as we get into the modern age, then how viable is your historical data? Because you're missing a huge sample size of players that don't participate in whether it be the 40, the vert, the broad jump, whatever. I saw John Middlecoff, who I think is doing some stuff for Colin Cowherd's podcast network, The Volume. He's a former scout, college and pro. He's a media member now. And he had a position that was making the rounds, or an opinion that was making the rounds, like the combine as it presently exists will not be a thing in 10 years. Is that something that we could foresee that the combine will change? Because the league is trying to make it more of a fan event than ever, and yet they're seeing less participation. People are accepting these invites, but we're seeing less actual on-field participation than we ever have.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's like bowl games, right? It's the opt-out stuff is only going to keep happening, but everybody also has a different situation, right? Some guys opt out of drills because they feel like they have more to lose than they have to gain.
Sure.
Some guys opt out of drills due to injury. Some guys for whatever reason. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if there's this underlying reason on why this is a trend that's happening, but it's not like the interest in the combine is lessening by any means. The media coverage of the combine only grows as the amount of players doing drills goes down.
Yeah, I just wonder, like, if the format will remain the same, because it's not the drills are not for the people who are attending the combine, like to cover the combine. You can't get anything really of consequence from sitting in the stands far away from the field and watching on the Jumbotron the television coverage without sound or subtitles or anything, right? You just get some indicators of occasionally who's testing when based on the numbers that they're wearing. So I don't know if it's going to evolve at some point in time that changes the nature of the combine. I don't know if the NFL will at some point mandating, like, if you accept an invitation, you have to commit to doing a number of drills, because it's a sponsored television product. That's the whole reason that the schedule's changed to where the drills bleed through to the weekend. I saw this tweet from, I wasn't familiar, Brett Coleman, Brett something. He's a draft analyst, a film person. Anyway.
Well, I've never heard of him, so he's got to suck.
Okay, well, I'm probably got his name wrong. Anyway, the guy took a picture of the media room, the podium room that we were all in all week long,
I know who you're talking about. Brett Coleman, I think.
Okay, so it's an empty room, right? None of the TV cameras are there. All the television sets for CBS and ESPN and all these other networks, Sirius, they're all gone. We're gone, obviously. There's no Radio Row. But it's offensive lineman interview day, and you basically have a one-on-one with every offensive lineman that you want. But the offensive lineman didn't talk until when? Saturday. We are not, as an industry, you are not seeing people, companies, send media en masse for 10 days, 9 days to Indy just so they can stick around on Saturday and talk to the offensive lineman. Also, apparently the picture was taken far before any of the media actually got there, so it was a bit misleading. But I don't know if the thing that they've tried to do this for television hurts or helps this. I don't know if there's ever a situation where drills could be mandated, because I don't think that's necessarily fair to players. Anyway, get us updated on Vols players first, and then we'll do Vanderbilt players testing-wise at the Combine.
Yeah, two of the winners from the Combine were from the state of Tennessee. Tennessee wide receiver Chris Brazzell and Vanderbilt tight end Eli Stowers both stood out. Brazzell tied for 8th in the 40 among receivers, which for a guy at his size at 6'4", 198 is very impressive, a time of 4.37. To put it into context, we talked about the idea that, hey, everybody's talking about Brennan Thompson, but don't sleep on Barryon Brown as a guy who could have the best 40 time in this draft. Brown, local guy, right? Kentucky to LSU, the wide receiver for Pearl Cohn High School. He had a 4.4. Brazzell bested Barryon Brown, whose identity is speed demon. So, Robert, do we have Chris Brazzell from the question that you asked him about the Tennessee offense and how maybe there are concerns that it doesn't quite translate to the NFL, especially at the wide receiver position, as we have seen now the likes of Velus Jones.
Why are you wiggling your head that way? Are you having a seizure? What's happening?
He's just basking in the big J-ism of it all. Let's hear from Chris Brazzell talking about that offense.
The year you talk about Jalen Hyatt and them, I didn't play in that offense. This last year was a completely different offense than what y'all are kind of known for, or y'all think Tennessee offense is. 2024 and 2025, those are two different offenses with Nico and Joey. So I was really playing more regular, traditional offense this last year versus like any other year at Tennessee.
So Joey Aguilar said some similar things. We played that audio from Aguilar on Friday, that there were a lot more pro-style concepts added in. I think there is still a lot of choice route element to this offense for Tennessee receivers that does not translate quite as well. But I would say Chris Brazzell drastically improved his stock last week. And I don't know. I mean, is it crazy to start to talk about him in a fringe round one sense?
Oh.
With that size and that speed and that production in the SEC.
Yeah, again, it really depends on the team that would be considering him for their needs, right? Who are teams at the bottom of the draft that could use a wide receiver like Chris Brazzell? Could New England, who desperately needs playmakers, who desperately needs team speed with a 31st pick, take a guy like Chris Brazzell based on what they currently have on their roster and how much that could improve the floor of what they have? Maybe not immediately, but at least get a guy who can give you a different dimension than you have. I think I defer to people who study the draft more closely than I do, but I could see a situation in which he popped up, and because the run on wide receivers maybe goes earlier, given the dearth of them, there's not a ton to pick from in the first round, or guys that you could really justify spending a first-round pick on. I think it's viable.
Meanwhile, Eli Stowers set a couple of modern combine records. His 45 1/2-inch vertical jump and 11'3" broad jump, the best since 2003. Former quarterback, he is an excellent athlete. He is working on his game as an inline blocker, but he's just a playmaker. And if not for Kenyon Sadiq, the Oregon tight end, who is probably tight end one in this draft and just an absolute athletic freak, Eli Stowers would probably be the most attractive tight end in this draft to NFL teams. Top 3 in every other drill, apart from the vertical, where he was number 1 at his position. His 40 was a 4.51, which tied for number 2 behind only Sadiq, who ran a 4.39, which is the best ever for a tight end at the Combine.
Yeah, he's trying to get back into that first-round conversation too, Stowers.
Yeah.
And the freakish athleticism certainly not going to hurt him. But that lack of blocking ability, you have to you just can't throw him out on the field the way that you did with Gunnar Helm.
But you can do something with Eli Stowers.
Without question.
Just the playmaking ability is there, the athleticism, the size. He's a former quarterback, which was talked about a lot last week. So I feel like he's a guy that if he's not going to sneak into the first round, could very well be a second-round pick out of Vanderbilt.
We were in Indy all week long taping some interviews and doing a bunch of interviews live. One such interview that we did have the opportunity to tape we will play for you next. Mina Kimes of ESPN sat down with us at our table, and we talked a lot about NFL, free agency, and Cam Ward's fit in Brian Daboll's offense. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone.
12:01, good afternoon from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Lucas Panzica. The NFL Scouting Combine wrapped up this past weekend in Indianapolis. Some standout performances. Mississippi State wide receiver Brennan Thompson with the best 40 time at 4.26. But two local prospects that stood out. Tennessee wide receiver Chris Brazel at 6'4", running a 4.37 40, and Vanderbilt tight end Eli Stowers finishing top 3 in every drill in the tight end category, including a 45.5 vertical that is number 1 for tight ends in the modern era of the combine. College hoops this weekend. Tennessee gave up another double-digit lead, 71-69. The loss to Alabama, dropping the Vols to 10-6 in SEC play, but the attention turns to the health of Nate Ament, who was held out in the second half with the lower right leg injury and is not practicing today for Tennessee. Meanwhile, Vanderbilt fell to Kentucky Saturday, 91-77, going to 9-7 in SEC play as we head into the final week of the regular season on the men's side. The women's side, the regular season wrapped up yesterday. Vanderbilt with a 10-point victory over Tennessee. They head into the SEC tournament this week in Greenville as the 2 seed. The Lady Vols, with 6 straight losses to close out the season, are the 6 seed. The Nashville Predators host the Detroit Red Wings this afternoon at Bridgestone. Puck drop is coming up at 1 p.m. The NHL trade deadline is approaching Friday afternoon. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Final hour is upon us on this Monday. We're happy to have you. If you want to give us a call, you can do that. 615-737-1045. Did the Combine change your opinion at all about whom you would like, whomst, if I was Josh Pate, you would like the Titans to draft with the number 4 overall pick? You can also interact with us via the F&M Bank chat, where you can live stream the show on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch. We are back in Nashville after a week in Indianapolis, where we had a lot of great conversations, learned a lot, had a lot of fun, too. Kirby probably the worst for wear out of anybody, just because I thought he was dying in the backseat of the car driving home. The man suffers from outrageous levels of leg cramping because he refuses to drink water. Turns out Pepsi, cigarettes, not a great combination. Somebody who does not participate in Pepsis or cigarettes, as far as I know, is Mina Kimes of ESPN, who was kind enough to be the finishing touch on our Combine week of interviews. We wrapped up the show on Friday. Mina sat down with us to record something that we will play for you right now. Hanging out here at the NFL Combine. It's good to see ESPN's Mina Kimes of the Mina Kimes Show featuring Lenny. It's been a while since we've been able to do one of these things in person.
I know. So much Titans football to discuss, and we haven't gotten to it.
This is their favorite time of the year because they cannot lose a game for at least another couple of months. They're in a very fragile spot, as it sounds like you've recently discovered.
Listen, I thought I was good with Titans fans.
Yeah.
It sounds like I've got some rebuilding to do.
Yeah, well, they're hopeful that they are also in a rebuilding mode where they might, occasionally make an appearance on NFL Live that isn't about somebody that got fired here.
That's
recently.
what it is. You don't talk about them enough.
Okay,
they miss you.
I would love to talk about them more. But Titans fans, we're going to be talking about you a lot in the next 2 months because I think where you're picking is one of the more interesting spots in the entire draft.
I saw you and Tice do that exercise on the podcast the other day. And obviously we would like for people to go check out the Mina Kimes podcast. But what were your thoughts kind of going into this draft, looking at them specifically, and then did anything kind of change the more that you evaluated the players versus the spot?
Yeah, I think it's a really fascinating spot, as we discussed on the podcast, because you have your choice of the top 3 edge rushers in the draft. And I do think it's a pretty clear top 3. They're very different players, talking about, of course, Reese Bailey and Bain. But you also have a quarterback who's entering year 2 and desperately needs help. And so you need edge, you need receiver. You're in a spot where I would say edge makes more sense But I would also argue, and this is kind of what we got into, it's so important to help Ward in year 2 to get this train on the tracks that I almost question not investing in offense early on, especially like after watching guys like a Caleb Williams, for example. The entire offseason for Chicago was so clearly oriented towards like getting the offensive line right. You get the offensive, all the things that they did, and even though the defense wasn't really struggled and didn't have a pass rush, Chicago, it was worth it. It was all worth it. So I think for Tennessee, that has to enter into the equation. Offense is more valuable to you because of where your quarterback is. And so the optimal outcome we came up with, sorry, it's a very long-winded way of talking about the draft spot, was ideally I thought you would be able to trade down with a team who wants one of the big 3 edge rushers, but stay in a position where you could still get like a Carnell Tate and pick up some draft capital in the process.
It'd be ideal. And we actually talked a little bit about Jeremiah Love, understanding that that's, it's kind of like, it's not quite a Raiders proposition where they took Genty before the team was ready for Ashton Genty, right? Tennessee, the offensive line actually got better as the season wore on. They played a lot better football. They simplified things. Luke Stocker helping out more in the run game. After they moved on from Brian Callahan and his father, it seemed to kind of just click more for them as a unit. I feel like I'm kind of talking myself into this running back at 4.
If you take a running back with this receiving group, I will be so upset. I love him. I do. And I do think the offensive line is improving, but the need is so great at a more expensive position. And I guess I should actually talk about the players. I really like Tate.
Okay.
I think I would go Tate, Tyson, Lemon is kind of where I'm at right now. But to me, I think, again, if you think about Ward and what he needs in year 2 and how important it is, obviously a running back can help a quarterback too, but it's so important to his development that he has receivers he can trust. And by the way, I wouldn't even just focus on the draft. It should be both the draft and free agency. Ideally, you'd hit the position a few times and bring in a capable vet as well to pair with an exciting young receiver, but I would much rather have a receiver.
Mina Kimes of ESPN here with us on 104.5 The Zone.
What principles then of what Brian Daboll has done in his career are you most excited to see get married up with Cam's skill set and kind of what separates Cam from some of the other QBs Brian's worked with?
I think just the adaptability and the variation from quarterback to quarterback has probably been the thing that has impressed me the most with Daboll. Obviously, young Josh Allen, we think a lot about that offense, and it was wildly different from what you saw in New York. I mean, I would say, like, it's funny because obviously you've seen now Daniel Jones has had a second good year, but the year that they made it to the playoffs with Daniel Jones, I thought he did a really good job of catering to his skill set, his athleticism, protecting him as a player. And then, Jackson Dart comes in and has some success early on, but it's a very limited team, major issues with pass catcher themselves, obviously, after Neighbors goes down. But I do think even in that brief stint, you saw him lean into some of the things Dart did in college as well. So I feel like Ward is a very different player from all of those guys. But I think the adaptability that Daboll has shown with young quarterbacks at different spots, all of whom were very different, is something that can translate.
Is Sonny Styles a mutant? Did you know that before yesterday?
I did.
Okay.
I had read some, I don't know if he had tested or if it was speculation, but you just watch the tape. It's crazy. He's like an insane athlete.
Yeah, the linebacker class as a whole, because honestly, we're just talking about, at least from my standpoint, they have so few good football players in Tennessee. It's a long way away from what it was when you guys came for the draft in Nashville in 2019. It's been their Jets-Browns bad here the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at non-premium positions. We were having this conversation: running back, off-ball linebacker. You've got some guys who would make sense, and I would love the idea for them to be able to trade out of their spot for 4 and pick up some additional things. I just think they're in a spot where they were with Corey Davis back in 2017, where they drafted him at 5. They had no choice. They couldn't get anybody to take the pick, so they take Corey at 5, and you want him to be Julio Jones, but that's just not what it's going to be.
Right.
I've gone back and forth on that with a couple of these non-premium positions.
Yeah, I think it would be hard to take Tate there over one of the edges, right. I think, but you kind of have to look at this whole thing holistically. Like, all right, if let's say you end up deciding to stick and Salah's defensive guy, what's your plan in free agency? Like, how aggressively will you pursue, I don't know, an Alec Pierce or Romeo Mike Evans? Like, it's just you're more comfortable, I think, going defense there if you like the second tier of receivers in the draft, but also if you're willing to spend some of that money and you like the free agents. Or let's throw out like a trade, right? There might be some options there as well. Like, I don't know. Well, you wouldn't be able to trade for BTJ, obviously, but like AJ Brown.
Yeah. Make it happen. You did that on purpose.
Yeah. No, there's problem, but I'm just saying, like, there might be other ways to flesh out the receiver core if you can't get a trade partner and you feel better about the edges.
How did you celebrate the Super Bowl?
Ooh.
At Disneyland. The NFL
that's
Live
right.
was
You were
at
on the
Disneyland.
Set, so
yeah.
you got to go and be a part of the whole thing.
Yeah, it was cool.
I heard Seahawks fans were more excited to see you than they were Kenneth Walker or Sam Darnold.
It was very cool to see the parade. I've never been there in person for that.
Yeah.
It's such a fun moment.
Yeah.
What Super Bowl was more satisfying for Seahawks fans, this one or the Legion of Boom?
Probably the first one. I don't know.
Like the Darnold redemption arc.
Both were kind of funny because both were like anticlimactic, right? Like in both instances, the NFC Championship was kind of the real Super Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely. Who's got the most interesting offseason of any team that you guys are talking about in the NFL right now?
The Titans are. So part of that conversation, we did a segment on my podcast that was like, which teams have the most at stake this offseason? And I started off with the Titans. And to me, it was less like they got the pick and the money. Obviously, that it makes it more inherently interesting. But just we've seen now so often that year two is so pivotal for a young quarterback's development. So you have to make all the right decisions to support him. And that's why I keep going back to preferring an over-investment in offense over. And I think, by the way, the fact that the offensive line started to move in the right direction really makes that a lot easier. The fact that you have a player like Skoransky who really broke out, right, it just alleviates some of the pressure to address the offensive line, and now you can actually focus on receivers.
Well, Mina, we so appreciate your time. I know you're busy right now. You can check her out on the Mina Kimes Show featuring Lenny. You can check out the YouTube channel, of course, NFL Live. Always good to see you.
Titans fans, let's heal. Come on.
So we appreciate Mina Kimes, like I just said there, for sitting down with us on Friday afternoon, wrapping up the Combine. So both she and Dane Brugler, the NFL draft analyst, the chief NFL draft analyst for The Athletic, both not crazy about the idea of the Titans drafting Jeremiah Love, especially if they were to do it with the 4th overall pick. Why don't we talk about that and a rumor that was floating around Indy about the Titans' interest in Love, as Jimmy Wyatt said, are the Titans falling in love with Jeremiah Love? I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. So there's a lot of rumors, not necessarily reported as fact, that come out at events like Combine, whether that be as far as free agent interest goes or who a team has fallen in love with, which team interviewed a player that did poorly in the interviews. Not necessarily something that you can quantify, not something that you have evidence of, but just hearsay that makes the rounds. Especially if you're a Titans fan, you're probably a little prone to this because 4th overall they could go, how many different directions could the Titans go at 4th overall that fans would say, yeah, that's a good pick?
How many directions could they go?
Positional directions.
Man, they could go edge. They could go receiver. They could certainly go Jeremiah Love. Man, Francis Mauigoa might be a really good player, but I don't think Titans fans, I think that's probably the position that would drive Titans fans craziest.
Well, I think there would be an outsized reaction on social media, but if you asked
if you think he's the best player,
if you asked a random Titans fan walking the street that might not have Twitter, okay, like, would they say, hey, they're going to add another offensive lineman, the best offensive lineman in the draft for Cam at 4?
Yeah.
Are you good with that? I feel like if you're not a social media reaction person, you probably be met with, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Like, there's not a corner to take it for. Obviously, quarterback is not in the discussion here. There's not I was going to say there's not a safety. Caleb Downs could very well be one of the best players in this draft. So I'd throw at four positions.
So with a number of different directions that you could go, and there is...
Oh.
I need you both to go pull up the Titans' most recently published video.
No.
Is this what you're doing?
Really?
This is messed up, man.
That's wrong. You shouldn't have done that.
I think it'll be important when you guys see it on YouTube.
Oh.
On YouTube?
You had me thinking they traded someone.
Yeah, what the hell?
I'm upset. Go look at the YouTube.
Well, this is terrible radio.
No, okay, I'm going to tell you what it is, Goober. I'm building.
Is it something that we can play?
I don't care anymore.
They put out a melt of Robert Saleh, like, mic'd up, doing the rounds at the Combine and had our bald bit heavily featured towards the end.
Lucas is on the thumbnail with Robert Saleh, both bald, both brothers, leaning in, and it is an incredible picture.
My bald brother.
That's the thing you brought the show to the screeching halt. Something we already did. Something we did on the show.
Somebody else talk. I don't like the tone he's taking with me right now.
It's ridiculous. If you wanted to make a big...
Got to turn your mic
Is my microphone off?
You got to turn it on to talk, you idiot.
Come on, dude. You're better than that.
If you wanted to do something like that, you could have just played Lucas and Robert Saleh with a bald cap.
Yeah, but
we did it on the show. Oh, we made the Titans thumbnail.
But it wouldn't have been okay. They would have not known the reason for me breaking in with it.
Shout out to the Titans digital media team, grinding last week in Indy.
No,
PR,
not shout out
group.
because they took a layup social media moment and put it on their it's pirating. Are we going to be able to run press conferences now?
Oh, don't run our stuff. Don't use our stuff. Don't use our stuff.
Am I gonna get to carry your press conference in week 9?
Well, technically, they waited until our bit was done, so then they could run it.
That's true.
They're following their own rules.
That's a good point.
You know what? Take your ass to the shadows. You're riding a high off the Combine.
I think he's shadow-proof now.
No.
No, I'll go. I'll gladly send myself there.
Take your ass there.
Goodbye.
Get out of there.
Working on the Mina YouTube video.
Work on it from the dungeon.
Oh, man.
What were we talking about?
So the amount of different directions the Titans could go with the number 4 overall pick. We talked about it last week. This feels like a BPA draft, a best player available draft with just the amount of variety, the variance that you're seeing at the top of the wide receiver class, at the top of the edge class on who's the number 1, number 2, number 3 prospect. The idea of drafting Jeremiah Love wasn't something we really talked about much before last week. leaving the combine, people are head over heels for Jeremiah Love, and suddenly that's being brought up, not just for the Titans, but for multiple teams. I do love the wording in this reporting from Connor Hughes, who covers the Giants for SNY TV. He reported that the Giants are expected to make a, quote, strong push for Kenneth Walker, who is set to become a free agent, the Super Bowl MVP of the Seahawks. The tweet from Underdog NFL also reads, Jeremiah Love is expected to be among the prospects they are expected to discuss deeper into the draft process.
Jesus Christ.
It's draft season, baby.
Read that exact phrasing again.
Now, this is not directly from Connor Hughes, who reported the Giants are expected to push for Kenneth Walker. That is actual reporting.
Yeah, that is reporting.
Underdog NFL.
What is that?
It's a betting site. It's a betting site. Yeah, that they
like
just
Kalshi?
tweet out NFL news all the time.
All right.
Added to that, Jeremiah Love is expected to be among the prospects they are expected to discuss deeper into draft process.
It's like a Josina Anderson tweet. What are we doing? I mean, I assume they are responding to, like, that's just a means of picking up aggregation. So you're using some buzzwords and draft and responding to a tweet that's about the draft to try and gain some additional social media traction, whatever. Useless.
That's funny.
Okay, so Matthew Berry, Carrot Top, you ready for this? Okay. Was doing interviews at Combine and disclosed a rumor that he had heard about the Titans.
Top 3 landing spots for Jeremiah Love that would be most fun for us in the world of fantasy football. Well, I mean, look, the Chiefs are the obvious one, right? It doesn't feel like Kareem Hunt or Isaiah Pacheco have that much left in the tank. And getting a guy like Love in an Andy Reid offense, that would be a lot of fun. I'll tell you this much, talking to some sources around here, around the Commanders, they say they need a thumper. Jeremiah Love would qualify. He qualifies at a lot of different things, but running back, a lead running back is a need for Jaden Daniels in that offense. So I could see the Commanders, and that would be a lot of fun in that offense there. David Blau taking over. It's going to look a lot like the Lions offense from the last couple of years under Blau. So you could see Jeremiah Love having a lot of fantasy value if he was in Washington. How about the Saints? You know, I know Alvin Kamara was there, but, you know, feels like Kellen Moore wants to think about the success he had in Philadelphia with Saquon Barkley, getting a young running back like Jeremiah Love. But I got a wild card for you. As great as all 3 of those would be fun for us in the world of fantasy, the rumor I heard last night, the Titans, that the Tennessee Titans think Jeremiah Love is the best player in the NFL draft. Now, again, that's a rumor. I'm not reporting it as news. I'm not a journalist. I'm just telling you, think it's interesting. Could you imagine Jeremiah Love, a member of the new look Titans?
Okay, so
I'm not a journalist.
I'm saying this after, you know, he says something that he very much understands is going to be aggregated. What? Okay, do you want to make a point? You want to come out of the shadows and make a point?
No, I like it down here.
Remember that? What was that video? It was one of those like viral YouTube videos when we were in middle school or high school or something. Like the rap battle where the guy like would say something and he goes, "But I'm not a rapper." You remember what I'm talking about? Well, I can't remember any more context than that. It's probably
super hot fire.
Yeah, that guy.
But I'm not a rapper.
But I'm not a rapper. Like at the end of every verse, but I'm not a rapper.
She gave me I gave her my number. Psych! That's the wrong number.
Yeah, that's right.
That's so good.
That's right. But I'm not a rapper. That's what I feel. That's what I think of every time somebody's like, "Oh, I'm here. Not a journalist. Don't hold me accountable if this isn't the case."
I didn't report that. What do you mean? I just said it was a rumor.
I just said it's something I heard.
So Robert, during the break, was pushing back on the idea of why would anybody of football consequence tell Matthew Berry anything? And I would say that football people, much like, you know, anybody else, they get excited when they see somebody that they've seen on TV for 20 years. Matthew Berry has been a part of the NFL world in some form or fashion for a long time. He's a very popular guy, very likable guy, easy to talk to. And yeah, plenty of football people would tell Matthew Berry rumors, again, with the precursor of he's not a reporter, where is this going to end up? And Matthew Berry can talk to me about whatever my fantasy football situation is going to be next year. Like this. These are things that happen. Now, Matthew Berry putting that out there makes it different, right? Because then Titans fans pick up their heads about, the Titans think that Jeremiah Love's the best player in the draft. Rumor. also doesn't mean that they are going to draft him at 4th overall. Now, let's walk through the viability of this. In a draft where Fernando Mendoza is going to be number 1 overall, but is not viewed as the best player in this draft, kind of like who was viewed as the best player in last year's draft? Because it wasn't Cam. Travis Hunter?
Yeah, probably Travis Hunter.
Now, he's unprecedented, right? And people got all, their panties in a twist about generational talent type thing. I think that was a Brinker line that got a lot of headlines at owners' meetings. So people assumed, does that mean that they're taking Travis Hunter? Why would the Titans take Travis Hunter? Da-da-da-da-da. Okay, all these things. Is there a world in which Jeremiah Love could be 3rd, 4th, 5th, let's say anywhere down to 9 where the Chiefs are, but still be the best player in the draft? Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, what's the best example of that? A couple of years ago, 2023, when Bryce Young went 1, C.J. Stroud went 2, Will Anderson went 3. Would Will Anderson have been that guy being talked about as overall prospect number 1 that was just superseded by positional value of quarterback? It happens all the time, where the number 1, probably the best football player in the draft, does not end up going number 1 overall.
Yeah, okay. Last year, a lot of Russell, not a lot, or a couple of people have chimed in saying Abdul Carter. Yeah. Abdul Carter, now he didn't necessarily look like that in New York.
Who texted you?
It's a tweet.
We heard it.
It's a tweet. I don't know how to. It's Pro Football Talk saying something about Levante David being a free agent next week. How old is Levante David? You got to be damn near 37. Anyway. So, could Jeremiah Love be the best player in the draft, according to some teams, including Tennessee? Yes, that's very viable. He's the most explosive offensive player in the draft. And he's right now being talked about around guys like Reuben Bain, who has a physical, I got to stop calling it or categorizing it as a physical deficiency, but it is. He's got shorter arms, and there's not a precedent. There hasn't been a precedent in a long time for a guy like that being picked in the first round at his position. David Bailey is another one that's being talked about differently. He's got some stuff there about how viable he would be depending on where he ended up landing. And is he truly a 3-down player in the conventional sense? Maybe, maybe not. Okay, there's some precursors around all of these players. Caleb Downs is one of the best players in college football last year, but Daniel Jeremiah, the NFL Network's top draft analyst, is saying he's a very good and very smart football player, but there is not an elite trait that he has that would make me, consider him further than wherever Daniel Jeremiah is mocking him right now. So is it possible? Yeah, it's entirely possible. Hell, it might be probable because he might be the best player in the draft. Who else are we talking about that way?
I think Downs, for some people, could be that. Otherwise,
it's him.
Not one of these receivers.
No.
Certainly. I think there's a lot of love in some circles for a guy like Arvell Reese. As a football player.
Oh, my God. Sonny Styles.
Yeah, Sonny Styles. There are arguments to be made for 4 guys to be the best football player in this draft.
So let's just say the conversation is between Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs, and Jeremiah Love as the best player in the draft. All 3 highly productive players from Power 4 program. Well, I guess Notre Dame's not technically a Power 4 program, but notable programs that don't necessarily play the most valuable position. Nobody is going to put safety over quarterback or receiver or edge or running back or off-ball linebacker. But what was the message that Dane Brugler led off with when I asked him, do you have a theme for this year's draft? Do you remember? It was one of the first or second questions we asked him.
Remind me.
He just said, take good football players.
Yeah.
In
a BPA draft
within the context of the Detroit Lions taking a couple of years ago in the first round, Jahmyr Gibbs and Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell's an all-pro linebacker. Jahmyr Gibbs is one of the most electric running backs in football. Maybe it doesn't make sense from positional value standpoint, but it made sense for where the Detroit Lions were in their roster construction. Now, that was a roster that was further along than a situation like the Titans. So maybe you take some additional considerations there. How many players do the Titans have on their roster? And this is maybe a question that you might need the roster in front of you to be able to answer. But like among the three of us, how many players do you think off the top of your head would start and be good starters for another team in the league, for any team in the league?
That are currently on the Titans?
Currently under contract for the Titans. So Jeff for sure.
DK on special teams.
DK on special teams. I would make I don't know that Cam Ward is good, but I think that Cam Ward is a starting caliber quarterback. So I will include Cam in this discussion, even though we await a larger sample size of Cam.
I think there are a lot of teams that could use a Cedric Gray or an Amani Hooker.
But no more than 5, right? There's not a receiver.
No more than 5 players. Yeah.
No more than 5 players. The Titans just need better football players on their roster. So if it's Love, if it's Downs, if it's Sonny Styles, if they come away with, well, we're just looking to add football players and this was the best opportunity for us to add the best player in the draft at 4, I'm not going to kill them the next day in print or on the microphone by saying, no, these fools took a running back or an off-ball linebacker at 4 if he's the best player in the draft.
I mean, honestly, though, with as much as we talk about running back value and
Skoronski.
Yeah, Skoronski absolutely would start at multiple places.
Yeah.
When's the last time a running back held in that sort of regard, drafted that highly, prompting those discussions of, oh, you can't take a running back there. You can't take a running back that high.
Well, I mean, Jetty went 6th.
Yeah, and obviously jury's still out. You know, he was a rookie last year.
Last year's not on him.
Horrible offensive line. I still think Ashton Genty's going to be a good player. So we'll see how his career kind of develops. But that was a discussion around Jahmyr Gibbs. Pretty damn good draft pick by the Detroit Lions. Like
Saquon was another one that was up there.
When's the last time a running back that went in that sort of range actually ended up being, okay, yeah, you probably could have done better with that value-wise?
Christian McCaffrey, I feel like, was worth that value.
Yeah.
Todd Gurley.
I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Gurley would be the one, right? Because of how quickly that dried up, but he was
I don't
so
care.
good.
You got some pretty...
He got a second contract out of that.
Yeah, offensive player of the year. Like, no, that's worth that draft pick.
But like Sony Michel did not work out for the Patriots.
Where was he taken?
Like 30, 31st, somewhere in there.
Like, I'm talking top 10.
So, Joe Black, it's always a funny name to read. On YouTube, Joe Blacko writes, Trent Richardson.
Right, and we're going back a ways. We're going back well over a decade.
And even then, the Colts traded a first-round pick to get him.
The Browns.
No, the Colts gave up
you're right,
a first-round pick to the Browns to acquire Trent Richardson. I think that was with luck.
After his first year, yes.
So, even then, it was not just that the Browns took a running back that high in the first round. It's that the Colts gave up a first-round pick to go get him. And I don't remember what their first-round pick was that year. But the idea, imagine trading a first-round pick for any running back right now.
So if we're just going top 10, top 15, Ashton Genty, right?
Yep.
Rookie year, jury's still out. You got to go back to 2023 before that. Bijan Robinson.
Yep. Worth it.
Pretty worth the number 8 overall pick, right? 2022, Breece Hall was a second-rounder. 2021, Najee Harris, that's the 24th overall pick, so it does not count for this discussion. Clyde Edwards-Helaire at the bottom of the first round was good for the Chiefs. That flamed out pretty quickly.
Didn't they also have another first-round pick in that draft? Did they have 2 first-round picks?
Who was it?
The Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
The Chiefs.
No.
Or was that just like a flyer, like whatever, we'll take a running back at the end of the draft?
With Bijan going 8 overall in the 2023 draft, you got to go all the way back to, like Robert pointed out, for a top 10 running back. 2018 was Saquon, number 2 overall. That worked out pretty nicely. 2017, Leonard Fournette, Jacksonville. Probably did not have a career ending up being worth of the number 4 overall pick.
He had like a year or two where he was viable that way, but it's probably Fournette.
But as much as we act like you just can't take a running back that high, like for the most part, you know, those guys have nothing to do with Jeremiah Love. But for the most part, running backs that are taken that high, the Barkleys, the Bijan Robinsons, of the Ezekiel Elliott's of the world, not many of those fan bases, let's say, would look back and say, man, I wish we really didn't use that pick on Bijan Robinson or Saquon or
even Zeke.
Yes.
It was awesome. I mean, especially right when he got into the league, Zeke was awesome. And the Cowboys had the best offensive line in football at that point. But
also gave him 350 carries every single year.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Because that was post DeMarco Murray, right? And they obviously did the same thing with DeMarco.
But Robert is correct. The last time a top 10 running back, or even a top 15 running back, was a complete and total bust was Trent Richardson in the 2012 draft.
So who did Cleveland draft with the first-round pick they got from the Colts for Trent Richardson?
Great question. Do you know? You have it in front of you?
Johnny Manziel. So it was a net negative.
Bad teams stay bad for a reason. You dumbasses.
That's amazing.
God.
It couldn't be funnier. You couldn't have said somebody funnier there.
Who was the old dude they drafted?
Oh, Brandon Whedon.
Oklahoma State.
Would Whedon be funnier? I feel like Whedon was better than Johnny Manziel was. Whedon started like 2.5 years.
Whedon had a stint here.
He was like 28 when he was
Titans
drafted.
legend Brandon Whedon.
He pitched in the major leagues for a couple years, Lucas. He had to do his time in the salt mines.
That's right.
All right. We will wrap up the show with polls. Last call for phone calls coming up next. All right, let's put a bow on it for the day. Last call for phone calls. Have you got them? 615-737-1045 is the number if you missed any of the show. You can check it out via the podcast. Just simply search The Buck Rising Show wherever it is that you get your podcast. Robert has also put Mina Kimes sit down with us up on the YouTube channel.
Is it out? Did it already go out?
Oh, I don't know.
All right, go hit play. Oh, it is out now.
Oh,
so go watch that instead of the
okay.
Titans ripping off our bald video.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm mad about it now. I'm mad with you, dude. I'm mad with you, Buck. Buck's mad about it. I'm mad about it. He don't like you. I don't like you. He don't love you. I don't love you.
Oh, you're gonna invite a lot more hate into your life if you start hating the people that I hate.
I thought they did a great job.
Yeah.
It was adorable to watch him. It was kind of like watching you ask for retweets on your combine questions.
Yes, which were fantastic, by the way. You can check that out at ROBBY_Walsh
Lucas
on Twitter.
desperately scrambling for whoever had the most clear picture of him and Robert Saleh in a bald cap.
You got to do things right.
No, I get it. I understand. It's funny watching the two of you do the things that you've made fun of me for years. That's all.
Just because we're better at it.
Only for that 1 week. Then goes back to just
The back of my
letting
head.
the world happen around you and hitting a wall on draft coverage.
we go
you
to
see how
Indy.
checked out he is now?
we just cosplay for 5 days and then it's back to normal.
This is what he wanted to do. He's like, oh, the week before we leave for Indy. Maybe we don't work as hard because we know we're going to work really hard in Indy. And we did. I think we did that. But now that we're back from Indy, we've lost him.
No.
The only way that we can like poke him and prod him and be like, do you want to have BJ Callahan on the show, buddy?
I'm just thinking about
You want to ask somebody about a center back?
pad thai in my fridge.
Ooh.
What kind of pad thai?
Crispy chicken.
Is it got any chestnuts in there? Water chestnuts?
Peanuts.
I'm a big
Peanuts?
chestnuts. Water
You
chestnuts.
don't put peanuts in there, do you?
Yes, you do.
What do you? What do you do?
Of course you do.
I've never been more mad at two people in opposite directions in my life. What are you talking about?
I didn't realize that there were peanuts in pad thai.
Of course there are. It's a very traditional.
Oh, I thought those things were water chestnuts.
No, dude. So the soccer was good this weekend, Lucas?
Yep, She Believes Cup kicked off yesterday. It's a 4-team invitational tournament. I was very lucky to be doing the game for Westwood One, and the U.S. women's national team did their thing. 2-0 over Argentina. They'll play again on Wednesday in Columbus against Canada to renew a rivalry. So fun times, big soccer year in the U.S. 2026.
It's the She Believes Cup. Is there like a certain person that believed that it's after, or that's just like the broad name?
They all believe. I will say it's really cool to see the amount of little girls that just crowd the bottom row at Geodis Park, clamoring for autographs from the U.S. women's national team players and just going nuts when Trinity Rodman comes on the field. And the inspiration that the U.S. women's national team always is always cool to watch.
Yeah, okay, now say something sexist.
I was asking where the name came from. That's all I wanted to know. No, it was going to be like herstory, or like, you know how it's like history versus herstory.
How has nobody done? Surely somebody has done herstory.
Yes,
at some point.
Yes,
in
it is
time.
very popular.
Okay, very good. Polls are also popular. Let's do them and get out of here. What?
Did we do them?
I did them.
Oh, okay, cool.
I did polls today.
That's great.
Yeah, how about
I
that?
don't think you did them once last week.
I did not.
Didn't work that hard.
No, I was distracted.
Presented by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Which draft prospect helped themselves the most at the Combine? Oh, John says, not a lot, like 2 replies. Sonny Styles.
Do we think Eli Stowers helped himself?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
Sonny Styles was a huge
question.
talking point, right? Where he tested out. He did have better athletic testing than Calvin Johnson did.
Yep, that's crazy. No, locally, Stowers and Brazel, hard for them to have better days than they had last week. Which draft prospect hurt themselves the most at the combine? Jack says Malachi Fields. Yes, the Notre Dame wide receiver did not have a good week. Some dropped balls. The testing wasn't very good. Kenneth says Mekhi Lemon. His general demeanor was just odd. And there was one clip that I saw floating around where Todd Downing was on the field instructing receivers on a drill they were about to do.
Robert brought this up earlier for people that didn't hear it.
And he's telling them, okay, on this drill, you're going to need to go 3/4 speed. You can see Mekhi Lemon in the background behind Downing paying zero attention. And then when the drill happens, he's going like maybe a quarter speed, and the ball just sails over his head and lands 20 yards in front of him. It's like, dude, like this is one of the biggest weeks of your life. You could pay attention to what the coach around you is saying, even if it is Todd Downing. A lot of people are saying Reuben Bain. You could say stock down, but to say Reuben Bain hurt himself is tough. Like, what's the guy supposed to do? He was great at the podium. You didn't hear a single bad thing from the interviews. He didn't really test. It's just an arm length thing. So I have a hard time saying he hurt himself last week.
No, I would agree with that. We all knew he was going to measure short, and that's what happened, and people freaked out as if it was new information. No, it's the thing we've all been talking about him the entire time.
Who's the best player in the 2026 NFL draft class? Titan Goober says Jeremiah Love. Jack says Jeremiah Love. John says Jeremiah Love. Another John says Jeremiah Love. Dewey says Jeremiah Love. Justin says Caleb Downs. He says the overhype for a running back is wild. Look at the running backs on the Super Bowl winning teams the last 10 years and tell me what you see.
Yeah, Kenneth Walker's a stud. He's not a first-round
pick.
Was he
a second? He was a fantastic player.
He was awesome at Michigan State. Was he a second-round pick?
He ended up going in the second, 41st overall to Seattle. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying that because I saw somebody say that Derrick Henry is the case for you don't have to spend a big draft pick on a running back. No, Derrick Henry is a Hall of Famer, okay? They're not all that in the second round.
Also, okay, let's look at the running backs of the last 10 years in the Super Bowl. I can think of one from not this Super Bowl, but the one from last year that was a top 5 pick, and Saquon Barkley. He didn't go to the Super Bowl with the team that drafted him. It's not his fault. The Giants are the Giants. So, yeah, I'm with it, man. If he's the best player, take the best player.
I'm good with it, too.
The polls.
That is going to do it for us today. Robert and I will be back on primetime tonight, 7 p.m. Central Time, is where you can live stream the YouTube show. We'll talk more about winners and losers from the Combine, some additional fallout, insights, and information. We'll see you there.